Kyle, thank you for coming on the show.
It's about time.
This is probably going to be the funnest episode we ever do, just because of the way me and you are.
We banter.
But this is going to be the last episode of the year. This is our New Year's special.
New year, new me.
New year, new me for fitness. Obviously, a lot of people ask me, they're like, John,
How do you get sick?
how are you so thick?
Look at that.
You know? And I'm like, well, it's not just me. It's my trainer, Kyle.
It's Howard Fit. What do we always say? Well, I mean, me and you actually haven't officially. I mean, we worked out, but we've never actually trained. Like I've never.
As friends, we do.
We work out quite a bit.
Yeah,
when you're in the gym. So, it's fitness is one of those things that I think. I tell you what, that now that I'm thinking about it, I think fitness is one of the best ways to not just meet people but build relationships.
It's very true.
Have
a lot in common.
About? Yeah, where it's. I told somebody this the other day. I was like, if you're a young entrepreneur or somebody new to fitness, one of the best places to go to advance your career is a higher end gym to not only meet people that you could potentially work with, but build relationships, build, partnerships and things like that into the fitness. And it's a great place. So
no, it's true. I mean,
what are you thinking?
It's also a great place to meet friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much all your friends, if you're all in good shape, you can go do fun things together.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not in good physical fitness, I'm like, hey, dude, I want to go to the mountains of Blue Ridge and go on a 5-mile hike. It's kind of hard to do that with people that aren't in shape.
Yeah. And those people, that sounds terrible, but the people that don't value their health, they're not usually, this sounds really bad, but if they don't take care of themselves, they usually don't take care of other aspects in their lives. And then
very true.
They're not usually the people you want to be around. So, yeah. God, that sounds really bad, but
it's honest.
You know what I'm saying?
If you can't take care of yourself physically, how are you taking care of everything
your
else?
Family, your career.
And granted, I know some guys that have, but they're more rare. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. So, well, thank you for bringing the C4.
C4.
So happy that C4 is actually sponsoring this episode because of you, right?
Well, let me talk about C4 for a second because I always post them and stuff.
Yeah.
They reached out to me back in COVID. They're a company I've always used. I always tagged them and stuff, and I got an email from them saying, "Hey, we're doing this affiliate program. We think you'd be a great fit. Help you out during COVID." And then. So I was like, yeah, cool. I filled it out and stuff. And they've been a great partnership. They've been great friends. And they're based out of Austin, Texas. It's a good company, man. And they've been good to me. So it's something I use every day. So
you got me hooked on it.
Mm-hmm.
Got me hooked up on it. And then, I mean, you also do a lot of good stuff with it. You donated some to the auction we did last year for First Air Foundation. So
one lucky guy got a case. Taken home with him. So.
He did. He did. Still waiting on that case.
Still waiting on it. It's in my car. I'm waiting to bring it in. But
I could just see somewhere about midway between this episode when this can's down. I'm just going to be just talking. And then after this episode, we're going to go hit the gym, right?
I think we're going to go get a quick workout.
We are going to hit the gym. All right. Well, let's talk about who you are, where you're from, where you grew up, kind of how that led into fitness. But where are you from?
Well, my family is originally from Kansas City, Missouri, so I'm a Midwestern Missouri boy. We moved down here, when I was like first or second grade. I always tell people, I'm like, I'm from here. It's just easier to explain it. But moved here first, second grade, and I grew up here. I grew up on the beach. Grew up, Fort Walton, Destin area. Going to school here, going to Choctaw. Going to college over here and getting a degree in exercise science, and so I wrestled in high school. And boxed growing up, and then when I was wrestling in college, it kind of led to MMA. Everybody was like, MMA was just kind of not taking off, but it's been there. But everybody started saying, "Hey, let's do some jiu-jitsu classes. Let's do stuff like that."
What year was that?
God, 07? 07? Yeah, so 07, 08 is when I started kind of dabbling with MMA. And then next thing I know, because I already had that wrestling and boxing background, I started doing fights right away. So I started getting fights. In like 2 or 3 months. And I just did some jiu-jitsu classes, and the coach in there at the time, which was immersion, and all these guys, all Air Force, military. So a lot of my best friends are former military, if not are still in the military. there's some of the best relationships I built was at that gym. And so I started fighting and teaching classes. So I started teaching like workout fitness classes in that gym. And I was like, God, I loved of MMA. I loved the fitness part of it. And it led, and I was like teaching these classes and I loved the aspect it did. And then so I was like, man, I'm going to switch my career or kind of switch my mindset of what I want to do in life. Cause I really didn't know. I was young. I was fighting. I thought I was going to be in the UFC. And I started coaching, and then next thing you know, I got a degree in exercise science, and I started working at a gym. And God, that was 12, 13 years ago, and got my certifications and all that stuff. So, and then it led me here, man. Led me talking to you. So,
Was your parents that moved down here, were they military? Is that why y'all moved from Kansas to here?
No, that's an interesting story. My mom was actually in real estate.
Oh.
At Remax in Missouri, sold like 3 or 4 big houses there, and took that money and bought a hippie Peace Frogs. It was called Peace Frogs, and I think they're still around. A hippie store, and moved her whole family to the Gulf Coast to sell Grateful Dead shit at the beach. I swear to God, it's so crazy. So whole family, we moved us down here. I was like second grade. My sister was younger, and my mom opened some podunk hippie store down here at the beach, and just wanted to be a hippie and sell a bunch of like Grateful Dead stuff and all that. And then that's kind of how we got down here, and it worked out like that. So
you came down in the 90s, like late 90s?
God, I guess. Yeah, I was back in the 90s when nothing was here. In the sense of, like, my mom, I tell you what, my mom's store was over at McGuire's in that shopping center. That's where my mom's store was at. So it was in that shopping center. So we lived out that way in Destin. And then, I mean, the commons weren't there. The outlets weren't. The outlets were there, but nothing this way was really here. So.
No Emerald Grand was there yet?
No Emerald Grand in there. It was just all beach for the most part. So I grew up, like I said, surfing, skateboarding, doing all the fun beach stuff and doing all that. But.
So you were there. I mean, you saw Destin turn to what it is now. Destin and 30A.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, I was telling somebody this story the other day. I was like, my mom's car actually broke down back by Seaside, and I just remember I was little, I was like being scared. I'm like, where the hell am I? It's like in the middle of the woods. And now thinking back, I'm like, that was 38. I was like, it was so crazy.
Yeah.
That was the whole area. It was literally just like, I think it was just Seaside, and all those like, Grayton and stuff like that wasn't really what it is now. And it's so wild to think that now I'm out here living out this way. So
no, I heard 38 was like the redneck Riviera back in the day.
It seemed like it, man. I trained this one. The cool thing, I'll tell you what, the cool thing about being a personal trainer is I've had the privilege of working with some of the coolest people on the planet in the sense of like career-wise. Like, I don't know another job where you get to meet, but everybody I work with, being real estate, former military, all that stuff, to doctors, lawyers, to everything, real estate agents, everything. But one of my favorite people I've ever trained is this man, Johnny Savage, still alive today. He would tell me stories. He's in his 90s. He'd be like, Kyle, he's a real Southern man. He's like, Kyle, I built 38 and all that. He's like, they gave me an axe and my buddy, and we'd have to chop down these trees. And he's like, no, this is a cool story. You like this real estate. He's like, back in the day, you could buy beach for nothing because you couldn't raise cattle on it and you couldn't grow vegetables. He's like, nobody wanted beach. He's like, it was pointless. And he's like, now it's selling for millions of dollars. So he's one of my favorite people, man. But just hearing him talk about the beach, and then hearing people talk about the beach now, it's crazy, and like the amount of value. But he's like, you couldn't raise cattle on the beach, so nobody wanted it. He's like, you couldn't grow vegetables, nobody wanted to live on the beach. He's like, we were the only ones that are living out here. So
yeah, it changed a lot.
Yeah,
changed a lot. So back to the MMA. When was your first fight with that?
My first fight. So once I did box, my first fight was at. This is funny. People that are local is at Nighttown. Nighttown, they used to do their little amateur fights and stuff, and I was really excited. I was at immersion, and they like, yeah, you're fighting, and I was fighting I'm 205 now. I was fighting at 155 at the time, and I was like, dude, I was so excited. I was like training for it. It was probably mentally. I look back, it's probably the best shape I've ever been, but I don't know if that's the case. But I always feel like that was my peak performance right there. It was when I was fighting, and I was fighting some guy from like Mississippi or something. I don't even remember his name. And it was just, dude, it was crazy. And then so I started, and literally after I had that fight, it was like back to back. I was just knocking out fights every 2 or 3 months. It was like I was training and fighting, going to school, finishing up college, doing all that crazy shit. So it was good, man. It was good time. And everybody's like, do you miss fighting? And I was like, yeah, I do, but it led me doing this now, because I'd never had that like violent aspect of me, and like people are like, oh, I can never see, you're so nice, I can never see you punching people or whatever. And I enjoyed the fitness part of MMA than I did like the violent part of MMA. So I enjoy what I do now.
Yeah, and you did like 10 fights total, right?
Yeah, it's about 10 AMI fights, MMA.
How many, and how quick of a period was that?
God, 3 years.
Yeah.
That's great. But I had that boxing and that wrestling background first. So I was already competing at those levels, and then I was younger, so it wasn't like crazy sanctioned like it was in that. And it was so fast.
Was it all like local here, like Nighttown type
No,
fights?
a few at Nighttown, Mississippi, Alabama, a lot in Alabama, South Florida. It was kind of all over the South, but it was good, man. And like I said, I was like 23, 22, 23. I thought I was, going to the UFC, so that was kind of like my only goal, was to be a good fighter. And then my last fight, it was at Nighttown. My last fight was at Nighttown, and I lost. And I was like, man, I just needed a break. And I always joke, my buddies will joke with me, and I was like, oh, I just hung up your gloves, and I just kind of called it after that. So it was my first loss, and it was hard on me mentally to lose that first fight. And I was like, because that's kind of like what I put my identity into. And then I had to kind of rebuild my confidence after that. And I never went back, dude. It was just one of those things, like just it just kind of happened. It was kind of a chapter in my life, and I closed it. So.
And then from there, you just went full on into training, or did you do something else?
Dude, bartending. I was like doing bartending and all that. And once I graduated school, but I knew I always wanted to be in fitness. And originally I wanted to be a physical therapist. I always joke, I'm like, that's a gateway drug. You talk to any trainer, you're like, oh, it's gonna be a physical therapist, and it never falls through. And the next thing you know, they're a personal trainer. But once I graduated school, and then I started training a few clients, and I was like, this is it, man. This is what I was put to do. The few things I was good in life was fitness and fighting and nutrition and all that. And I was like, I'm gonna make a career out of this. And I went, anything I ever do 100%. And I did that with fitness, and it's paid off so far.
You've been trained for 10 years?
God, like 12, 13 years. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
So you kind of built a nice portfolio up of how you do your workouts, clientele, workout programs.
My style. I bet you can contest to this in the sense, you when you first start out, you kind of try to mimic people you like. Maybe with real estate, you're like, oh, I like what so-and-so does. I don't like what he does. And then you get confident in you, and you're like, this is how I'm going to train. This is my style of training I'm going to do. And that's what happened. So then I kind of have my own style of training and my own way to look at fitness and all that. And so I do. If you don't like it, there's another trainer for you.
What would you describe your, style of fitness?
Realistic and balance. People have, you see these high guys like on Instagram that are like every workout's balls to the wall, and high level type A personalities. You're not throwing up, you're not working out. And realistically, that's not how people work out or are 24/7. So I think fitness should be well balanced in the sense of like, if you want to go have a drink or go have food, or that you balance your life around it. If you want to go eat some cake, that's fine. Because if you're eating chicken and broccoli every workout and every day, I'm like, you're not going to last. You're not going to be consistent with fitness. And fitness is all about consistency. So.
No, I like your workout style, because before I started training with you, everything was like powerlifting background for me. But now that I'm getting a little older, my joints hurt. My elbows hurt, my shoulders hurt, my knees hurt, like actually hurt. So the higher rep with you, I don't get injured.
Yeah, we do like nice. Medium, high rep range, and then I still have my compound lifts. I love, if you're not squatting or benching, any variation, it doesn't have to be a barbell, but squatting, benching, dumbbell, rows and deadlifting. If you're not doing those big compound movements, you're kind of doing a disservice.
Okay, so training. Great point.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying squat and deadlift are bad now. You don't think so?
any extra, this is a good argument. Any exercise done improperly is bad. But if it's done properly, then it's a great exercise. And squatting and deadlifting are fundamental movements you do on a daily basis. You know, picking up your dog, like we were playing with their dogs, picking up your dog, or picking up groceries, or reaching overhead, or anything like that. Those are movements you're going to do on a daily basis. So why not have a strong movement pattern in that? So, and then you play it out, man. If your back hurts that day, then don't do it. And then your back's feeling good, work on mobility, work on hip stuff. And fitness doesn't have to be one way or no way. So,
No, I agree with you because I've been squatting and deadlifting, I think, since age 13.
yeah, and you love it, right? It's one of your favorite exercises.
The only time I ever got hurt,
Over pushing it.
well, was like powerlifting where we're going extreme weight. But I never just got hurt from squatting or deadlifting. It was always something that got me hurt and then made it hard to do those exercises again. Like I'd compress my kneecap from military training. I'm like, oh, squat hurts my knee, but it's not actually a squat.
And me and you will sometimes, we'll just go in the gym and talk, and we'll do 135 squats.
Yeah.
Just a bar and some plates. And we'll have a great workout because we're doing 10 sets of, 135. I mean, and that's a lot in volume. So, and guess what? Our backs don't hurt the next day. Our knees don't hurt the back day. So
Yeah.
you don't have to do 200, 300, 400 pound squats anymore. I mean,
No.
unless you want to.
Yeah, that hurts now.
But it hurts, yeah. Like,
So, been training 12, 13 years. How did you got a couple of pro athletes that you actually train. You're not just some local little Destin trainer. Like you got NFL, you got lacrosse, 2 NFL, I think.
yeah, a couple NFL, lacrosse. Worked with your buddy for, a couple, like, you hit some mitts and stuff.
Connor.
Some college coaches I had. I've been lucky to, our area is great because a lot of people vacation here. And we got some cool people, man. We got some high-level athletes that come vacation here. Miles, one of mine. Miles, one of my best friends. Good lacrosse, high-level lacrosse player.
Dude's on ESPN.
ESPN. He lives here. I've been working with him probably 3 or 4 seasons, and he's a phenomenal athlete, so it doesn't take much to like push him over. But there's no bells or whistles, man. We just hit the fundamentals. We hit the basics with training, and then I worked with Will Lutz. He's with Denver Broncos now. He was with the Saints. Worked with Jameis Winston. He's with the Saints still. UFC guy, like all kinds of cool stuff, man. But they're so, and then high school and college athletes. We're a lot of high school and college athletes, and that strength and conditioning part. When I first started training, I was always training that average Joe, like, hey, I just want to lose 20, 30 pounds, whatever. And I liked that style. And then I started moving more towards athletes, and I kind of get to use my science, my knowledge a little bit more with these guys. So I'm like, all right, this is how we're going to train and base and build them up into a program and stuff. So I really enjoy training them. But then I still like my normal people, man. I like helping
You got a
them.
wide audience of people. I see who you train in the gym.
Dude,
but
everybody.
it could literally be an NFL player, and the next thing it's a 70-year-old dude, and it's a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Who's like basketball and football. So
I get more out of the. I love the thing with, like, let's say Miles. He's a good example because you know him. He obviously progresses all the time, looks great. But I do get a lot of joy of seeing somebody lose 20, 30 pounds. And it's like, hey, I have more confidence now. I feel better getting out of bed. I have more energy for my wife, more, just everything. And that I get more out of that, man. Helping. That's the main reason I got into fitness, is to help people, because you won't be there. I mean, there are cases, but being a millionaire as a personal trainer, it's not really a thing. You get into personal training to help people if you're a good trainer. And that's kind of what my calling was, man. I get the chance to kind of change people, help people's lives in my aspect of what I can do. So,
and you've been a trainer before it became cool, because I feel like now on Instagram, everybody's got a fitness program. Everybody's a trainer.
They have fit at the end of every Instagram handle, / real estate agent, real estate fit.
Yeah, that's probably an actual real name.
I guarantee we looked it up. But yeah, training was, like I said, it was my calling, man. I was meant to do this. So it was a good field, man. And the chance of the people I get to help and the people I get to meet, man, I wouldn't do anything else in this world. So
So when you started training, were you online back then?
No. So I always have goals every year. And I started my fitness app, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 2 years ago. I got Cage Fit, worked with a company that helped me develop it. And business strategy, this is a problem you hit with fitness, is there's only so much you can charge at a session and so many hours a day you can work. 9 sessions a day, 10 sessions a day. That's a long day. That's 10 hours of work with hearing everybody's problems and personality traits and what's going on in their lives. That's a lot on you. So I hit that ceiling, and I was already maxing out hours. I have 2 little girls that I'm sure we'll get to. So I was like, man, how can I grow my business more? And I started this app, and it's more, everything I do is like a passion project because I put everything into it. I developed it and started it, and it's been good. It's Cage Fit. You can get on Apple, Google, whatever. You follow it once in a while.
It's nice to have like when I travel.
Mm-hmm, this is something to throw in there.
Because like I can just log in. It's right there. Here's my workout. Yeah. If I need to message you, I just message you on Instagram, but on the app,
texting,
I can just message you on something on it.
It's fully functional. You can track your nutrition on there. It's a really cool app, and it's been a great asset to have in my training too. Because a lot of the time, honestly, 60% that are on there, some people I've never even met before, but it's clients I've worked with that I'm like, hey, if you're going out of town, hop on my app, or just keeps them accountable. Because one day a week with me isn't going to do anything, but if you can train with me one day and then use my app for 34 days, your results are going to double, triple. So a lot quicker than they would just working out one day a week, 2 days a week. So
yeah. Do you ever get the customer who's like trains with you for, let's say, 2 months, and he's like, I don't have a 6-pack yet?
Yeah. Oh, dude, all the time. I think as a personal trainer, you have to get. This is when I first started training, and I started before the athletes came, and I wanted weight loss. I want to help. I would watch like The Biggest Loser or stuff like that. I'm like, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be that coach. Everybody's gonna lose 100 pounds. Everybody's gonna lose, whole life change. Like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to like change people's lives like that. And then I realistically 10%, and it sucks because you obviously want all your clients to succeed and all of them to do great, but life gets in the way. They don't follow what you're saying. They do their own thing. It's hard to get somebody. Fitness is hard. It's meant to be hard. It's a great chance to push yourself uncomfortably in a controlled situation, if that makes sense. You can go to the gym. I'm going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to push myself here in a controlled place without having weird elements or whatever. And you can grow by that grind, that just that strength of fitness. But trying to get people to do that is hard. Trying to get people to go from sitting on the couch to moving is pretty difficult. So if you can get 10, 20% of your clientele to actually make a difference, that's pretty good for a trainer, which sucks. But
I'm guessing you get lied to a lot when you're like,
oh, dude, but
hey, you're not losing weight. No, I promise I'm following the diet.
I'm like, bro, I was like, I saw you at the bar. I saw you at the restaurant. You're eating cheeseburgers there. But and the way I train, like I try to tell people, I'm like, that's okay to do that, but move your life around. Like one of my favorite things, like if you're gonna have a big pasta dinner, skip lunch that day. I know a normal trainer would never say it's like skip lunch, but if you're gonna eat a lot of carbs, a lot of calories later at night, skip lunch, work out, and then you can kind of make your calorie deficit a little different like that. But fitness is hard, and then there's fitness is another thing. I don't know about your field, but everybody has an opinion on fitness. Everybody's an expert on fitness. You go to the gym, people that never went to school and never certified, they'll tell you what works, what doesn't work. I read this study, I read this. And the thing is too with fitness is there's studies coming out all the time that combat what you learned 3 months ago. So it's like, I always joke, I'm like, is milk good for you? Or eggs good for you? People are like, yes, no, don't eat eggs, only egg whites, only egg yolks. There's so much information out there with fitness, and everybody's an expert. So
you didn't know this about me, but I actually have a personal training certification.
Oh, I believe it.
The military actually sent me to a class. I'm not kidding.
I've heard this.
They did.
They do have certification fitness. Because you could be a trainer for the military. You can be in the military.
Yeah, it's like your unit will have like a trainer. I was either 18 or 19, and I went to this I think it was a 1 week or a 2 week course.
Yeah.
And of course, the guy that was teaching the class was,
Fat.
very unhealthy.
It's like the fat doctor telling you to
Out of shape. And I mean, I was in good shape at 18. I'm a straight out high school athlete. And I remember this course was saying, I think it was after 15 reps, it was useless. They were saying like, there's no
point.
There's no like muscle gain or cardio gain after like 15 reps.
They're like, why 15? Why not 16?
They
why
said
not 14?
they
You know
went
what I
to
mean?
the science,
Yeah.
and they were just like, your
Why is
body
that 15?
can't do anything more like after so and so. And I just remember I was like, this is like the most inaccurate.
Well, then I would
information.
I would argue that I'm like, why, like, you walk 15 steps a day, so anything past 15 steps is pointless.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm like, it's
but that was the stuff that was being taught. That was like in
exactly
06, 07.
a lot. This will be cool to talk about because a lot of certifications out there, NSAM, whatever, their job to teach a trainer is to not get sued and to not hurt anybody. So like the new thing now is knees over toes and all that. People were combative, like, oh, you never go past your knees, because the percentage of injury goes up astronomically once you start squatting past your knees over your toes and everything like that. So that's a lot of certifications taught things to prevent injury, because it takes a little bit more skill to teach somebody to squat past your knees or squat, ass to grass and things like that. That's when you find a good trainer that's been doing it for a while. And it's funny because there's like this progression of like when you meet a new trainer comes in, pretends he knows everything in the book, will tell you everything, every muscle group, all this. And then they'll start introducing these new stupid workouts they're seeing. But then eventually, once you train for a while, you go back to this style of like benching, squatting, deadlifting, all these basic training things because they work and they're not fancy or no electrodes, no stupid things like that. It's just barbell, dumbbell work and, unilateral, bilateral, double leg, single leg stuff. And it's like, that stuff works because it's been around forever and it's how your body moves on a daily basis.
I guess you have to be careful with how you train people that have never trained in their lives on one side of it, because if you do get them hurt.
Oh, dude, it could be.
Has that ever happened where like someone got hurt and they're like, it's your fault, I'm going to sue you?
Knock on wood, I've never had, because I play more on the safer end of training. There are trainers, you see like the big F45s, I don't want to call any like studios out, but big, studios where they're just balls to the wall. There's 20 people in there doing squats and deadlifts and burpees and doing all these things, and it's hard to coach that style. But I'm going to call CrossFit out. You see a lot of issues with CrossFit is because it had that. They had all these big barbell lifts without proper technique, proper form. That takes a long time to learn how to squat properly, and they're throwing 20 people and hoping their coach is watching it. There's a lot of injury with that. So valuing a great personal trainer is worth their weight in gold. Like if you're really looking forward to changing your physique and changing your lifestyle and changing your health, I would always encourage somebody to get a good personal trainer first. So.
No, it's very true. I mean, I don't think you actually know this, but when I was I 15? No, I was 16. I started training with this guy named Mike Denman.
Really?
One of my friends from high school got me connected with him. He actually I lived down this really long dirt road. It was, I think, 3 miles to my house down this dirt road. Mm-hmm. And then out on the main road, this guy actually had his own gym. He had this
cool. Like
he built this whole warehouse.
Yeah.
But this guy was like a national powerlifter.
Like, you're really into that. You loved your squat and
yeah. So
that was all you.
I used to be a really fat kid, and then I think I was age 11. Mm-hmm. I had 2 guys at my church who actually they brought this trailer and they put it in the back parking lot. Keith Netterville and Joe Sanchez. They were like, hey, why don't you come work out with us? Because they saw that I was just like this fat, dumpy kid, full of acne.
Yeah, just typical.
And this is before I actually went to public school, so I was homeschooled. And yeah, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, why don't you come work out with us?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And I always wanted to work out. Like, I actually bought this like little Walmart like dumbbell
sand weights.
It was like the old like chrome where the chrome was always peeling and flaking and would like cut you. It was like the cheap
cool.
like screw on like lock collar and all that. So I didn't want to be a fat kid, so I actually started training with these guys. And like, I remember Mike Denman. I think he used to be some kind of bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. Dude was was big. And that's what got me into bench pressing was actually him.
Well, all right, tell me this, because this is cool, because I get this story all the time. How much did your life change after you introduced fitness to it?
Everything.
Everything, right?
Yeah. I was probably
something so simple
yeah,
as like just taking care of yourself can change your life.
Confidence,
drastically.
everything.
Confidence, feeling. That's the thing people always talk about with fitness is like everybody comes in wanting to lose 20, 30 pounds. Mm-hmm. They never talk about the confidence you build, the relationships you build, the friendships, you're just better. You have more energy for work. Your work production goes up.
Yeah.
You sleep better. Your sex drive is better. All these little things that people don't look at when they start fitness. And then they realize once they get into it, I'm like, oh, these things are, everything else in my life is improving just from adding something as simple as working out 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah. And not to make this episode about me, but when I was a young kid, I was, at the time I was homeschooled. I was literally being raised in a barn. Mm-hmm. At age 11, that's right when the trailer burnt down. So now I'm living literally in the hayloft of the barn. I'm fat. I had really bad acne. Mm-hmm. And I was weird.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to, I wanted to make a change. I had man boobs, So I think I went from, I want to say I was around 180 something pounds at this time. And I was probably 5'6", 5'7", 11 years old. And then I started with the weightlifting. I started running. And, I think I got down to about 120 pounds.
So did that lead in, because we talked about, you got family in the military.
Yeah.
Did that lead into you joining the military? After you start taking care of yourself, you're like, all right, I can do this. I can go to the military. I can do it.
So I always knew I wanted to go in the military from an early age. I remember watching Independence Day, as a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be a fighter pilot. I want to go fight aliens. So I always knew I was going to go in the military, but I always kind of had that thing in my head where I was like, well, I'll get in shape when I'm in the military.
Yeah, before, which not the case, right?
Because
how many people join the military that aren't in shape?
Oh.
And then a lot, a high level.
Dude,
that's crazy.
I would say a majority.
See, I think I would want to be in the best shape.
Even guys that even go into special operations,
they're not in shape.
Not in shape.
Not that shape. It's crazy.
I've met people in special operations who are like, I hate working out. I'm like, how? These are guys.
Bro, that's your job to take care of yourself.
Already made it on team.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you make it
on
here?
Team.
And they were like, some of them were just kind of genetically gifted.
Yeah.
But they weren't they were just usually very scrawny, very, very skinny, but
endurance.
They could run because they're 130 pounds.
They could run forever. Yeah.
But it is kind of surprising when you meet guys I hate working out. I'm like, why are you here?
What are you doing that? Yeah.
But so to go back to me, that boosted my self-confidence massively. Started probably wearing too many tight shirts as a young kid, but I was working all the time. I was benching all the time. And then I always wanted to go to public school and play sports. My dad was very negative against me playing sports.
He was military too, right?
He was before I was born. Yeah, he did just I think 4 years in the Air Force. But if it didn't have anything to do with the church, my dad was against it.
I didn't know this.
So sports was no. He's like, you could be reading the Bible instead, or you could be doing something at the church. So from that age 11 to 15, I got in really good shape. I was just working out at the gym for hours a day with these guys. And I was like, no, I'm going to public school. Because I was like, I want to play football. I want to do powerlifting. I want to, baseball, all that. And my dad was still like, you're not going. And I was like, I'm going. And he was just like, if you miss that school bus, I ain't driving you. That's on you. He was really, he was real against it. And so actually, when I first started playing sports, my dad wouldn't even come to games.
Really?
Yeah, he was just not about it. And then that kind of changed my junior year. I remember my senior year, he actually came to my football games.
Yeah. But it's easy to see you sitting on the bench, man.
Yeah.
He's right there. That's my boy.
But I actually remember, I didn't know my dad was even going to come to that game. I remember I had just hit this dude, flew him off the sideline. And I saw my dad actually standing there, and he was like, yeah. And I was just like, oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy, though? That's crazy.
And he actually told me he regretted it. He's like, I regret not going to your stuff as younger. Because he was just he was so hard on if it wasn't with church. He was just like,
Isn't that crazy?
But he changed his mindset on it. But
how's your relationship?
Oh, it's great. Yeah,
It's great now.
me and Dad have an amazing relationship. But working out was good. My dad would go to the gym with me and work out. But that led me into like powerlifting. Oh, to go back to that story, Mike Denman, he had the gym, and that's where I got really trained up because this guy took high school athletes.
Yeah, and turned them into.
And they were all national or state powerlifters. Cool. So even me, like
this was Texas, right?
In Texas,
that's hard to do in Texas.
I thought I was strong, and I showed up there, and there was girls out squatting, out deadlifting. I had a good bench press, but my squat and deadlift was it was not state level competitive. And then those 2 years I trained with him, I mean, he proper forms, proper everything. So I was very fortunate. I just didn't think much about it at the time, but like as you get older and you see guys that have never done that kind of level of training, it was good.
Oh, dude, I'll get it's rare, but I'll get a client. There's this one guy that's coming to mind. He's like in his 50s, came to the gym. He's like, yeah, I want to get a trainer. And so I was sitting with him. I was like, well, when's the last time you worked out? He's like, never. I was like, what do you mean never? Like, did you play any sports? He's like, no, I didn't play sports. I was like, have you ever been to? He's like, I've never been to the gym. I was like, you're 50 years old, you never stepped foot in the gym. I was just shocked. I was like, first time ever meeting this client. Because everybody I meet is either a former athlete, they want to relive their glory days of being like, I want to be back where I was like, you're not going to be back where you're in high school, but things like that. Now this is a guy. So it was neat to see. And I tell you what, my goal with clients is to get them to love the gym, and not so much because everybody they want a number, they want to lose 20 pounds. I was like, no, love the gym, and then the rest will follow. I was like, enjoy the fitness part, and then your weight loss everything will happen eventually. And I got him loving the gym, and where I would train him once or twice a week, but every day I was there, he was there working out himself, and like that was a cool transition for me, or a transformation for me, because I mean, gosh, we don't train anymore, but every day he's still in the gym. He's in the gym, still working out. And like, I took this guy from never stepping foot to a gym to now he's there five days a week. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he loves it. So that's cool. But.
Yeah. No, I was real grateful for my training as a young kid because these workouts, I mean, they were intense.
Yeah.
You'd be puking in the workouts. So we only trained 4 days a week, 3 days weightlifting, 1 day stretching.
That's cool.
But the workouts were like 2.5 hour long. And it was like
brutal. Yeah.
There was no resting period. It was the only time you were resting was when the next person was taking their set, and it was back to back.
Yeah.
But I mean, like on leg days, there'd be times where like I basically had to crawl to my car. Yeah. I'd be vomiting in the workout. So I'm glad I did that at like 16, 17 because 2 days in football, it made it that much easier. Going in the military, I have never done a workout that hard in the military. I did harder workouts in powerlifting than I ever did in the military.
They used to say, if you train hard, the fight's easy. They'd always say that crap. I'm like, yeah, if you're training, because there would be times when I fought, I'm like, I would train 3 months and I would bust my ass training for a fight or whatever, and I'd win the fight in like a minute 30 or something, a minute. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, I just trained 3 months and the fight was just over like that. And I'm like, but it's so true though. It's like, and that going back to what we said previously is like, that's the cool thing about fitness is, and not saying you're going to be fighting or whatever, but you're in the gym, you're coming up against like adversity or whatever, where you have to push through something. And then if you can do that, then you can go to that work meeting and have confidence, or you can go home and have energy to play with your kids because you're like, dude, I did fucking something hard today already. I already did something hard, and everything else is easy. So that I don't know if I build fitness up too much, but I owe so much to fitness. And I see the reason I build it up so much is I see it on a daily basis of people that introduce fitness to their lives and make it such a priority, how much it expands everything else in your life. And all that, so.
I mean, it's everything.
It's everything.
That's how I got Riz.
Did you get Riz, man? I mean,
she saw me doing pull-ups. I'm not even kidding.
She was like done.
She'll tell you a story. She saw me doing pull-ups and she was like, get this guy.
Look at that guy.
Yeah.
Even with the bands.
That was actually when I was training for combat control, so I was I was probably like 185 pounds.
I saw the pictures. They're on the wall.
Yeah. I mean, I would run like 10-mile runs and then go bench press 300 plus pounds. Like, I mean, I was my whole life was working out at that time. It was 2-a-day workouts and stuff. But fitness has been everything for me throughout my whole life. Now, I mean, I like to eat some cake. Yeah. But I'm okay with that.
Exactly. Yeah. I always tell people that. I'm like, either have a six-pack and be miserable and eat chicken and broccoli every meal, or you can have a little bit of cake and have a 4-pack. You know what I mean? It's like, Whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
cake. I mean, I had cookies yesterday. Actually, I
Yeah.
had cookies and I had
some
I had a
cake.
cake yesterday
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I bought cookies from Two Birds. I was like, oh man, this is good
Yeah.
stuff. So I couldn't help it. But no, at that early stages of my life, like the physical fitness part, it kind of like, because I was about, I didn't have an identity back then. Like I had a lot of just like,
Who am I?
yeah, who am I?
Yeah.
I didn't have a strong family name. I mean, I literally was known as the person that grew up in a red barn. I didn't have a lot of confidence. So weightlifting kind
Gave you
of
that
became
identity.
like my identity.
100%.
Where I was known for like bench pressing
Yeah.
and working
See,
out.
I was the boxer in high school. I was the MMA fighter. And then, you know, I mean, everything, that was like my identity. And then each stage I would like, you know, move on. And then
Yeah.
now I'm the personal trainer. And it's like, fitness is always kind of, you know, my, not my crush, but my identity, like who I was.
The one thing I wish I would have had, because I didn't understand nutrition back then, and even like my trainer and my coaches, like I had like powerlifting coaches and football
That
coaches.
style is like, eat as much, keep eating, don't eat.
Well,
don't
it was
care.
just like eat some grilled chicken and broccoli.
Yeah, well,
you know, eat tuna, skip a couple of meals,
fine.
go run, and cut your weight.
Yeah.
So I remember my junior year, I was like, this is going to be my year. I'm going to do really good in powerlifting, and I messed myself up on my diet. Like I mean, like the
Cut too
week
much.
of
Yeah.
powerlifting. So I was I was more than likely going to go to state that year, and I was trying to cut my weight down. Couldn't. I was still like a few pounds heavy. So I remember like, I think 2 days before the like weigh-in,
stopped eating?
I basically just stopped eating.
Yeah, you felt like crap.
And I was like, I'll cut the weight. I made my weight and I ate, you know, all my food back that morning. And I remember the very first opening lift, I couldn't even get my opening
Crazy.
lift.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is easy weight
I've
for
been
me.
doing
Like,
this,
I was
yeah.
just like,
Just felt
what
tired.
happened? And I couldn't get my lifts. So that first meet, like, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it messed me up for the next like month and a half or 2 months, whatever powerlifting season was. I never got my strength back.
That's crazy.
From cutting that
Much
for being
weight.
stupid.
Yeah.
And then I met a guy who got my nutrition a little better. He was like, you can't not
gotta
eat.
Powerlifting, you got to keep carbohydrates. And all that
Yeah.
stuff.
So what the thing that sucked about that, all good life lessons, if I wouldn't have cut the weight and I would have stayed. So I was trying to get into the 165-pound weight class for powerlifting, but I was weighing like naturally like 180,
Oh, damn,
185
that's a lot of
pounds.
weight to cut for weight.
I'll cut
Yeah.
a lot of weight. If I would have stayed in that 181-pound
probably
weight
would've
class,
won.
I would have. My
Yeah.
lifts would
Would've
have
been
won
more
that
than
to
that
put me
would.
to state.
Isn't that funny?
And I was just like,
Yeah.
So my senior year, I was like, you know what? I'm not really going to cut much. I'm just going to see where I wind up being. And senior year was really
The
good.
best year.
But I still got beat. And, you know, I
There's
set the
always a
record
freak.
for bench, but I didn't get to go to state because,
There's always a freak out there that can,
there was a freak deadlift guy.
especially in Texas. That's the
Yeah, oh yeah.
country boys.
Yeah, there was really strong
Yeah.
dudes. But I was really happy with how my lifts were, like where I was mentally and nutritionally and stuff. It was good.
Some tricks the biggest thing is people underconsume protein and they overconsume everything else. So the one thing I always try to get people and just up their protein, you'd be shocked. If somebody like you, I'd be like, hey John, you might be okay, but I'd be like, hey Jonathan, let's track for a week how much protein you're eating. And you'd be fucking shocked. You'd be
Not enough.
70 grams a day, 80. Let's say you do have, like, dude, I ate steak today. I was like, that's only 70 grams, man. We should be doing, you know, science, they always say a gram per pound. The reason they say a gram per pound of lean body mass, because it's easy math. And if you shoot for that and you fall under, you're going to hit your macro intake. And science is like 0.6 to 0.7 grams. So you times that by your body weight or whatever. Like for me, I try to hit, God, and I still don't hit it because it's a lot of fucking protein. Is 180, 200 grams of protein a day. I mean, that's a lot of protein to eat. So, and you have to hit that consistently to see progress. So I always get everybody to eat their protein first. And I try to make fitness pretty simple. Like we're gonna up your protein, and then you're so busy eating your protein, your carbs fall down, your fats fall low, like everything's gonna fall under that because you're so busy fucking eating your protein. I love higher protein diets, higher fat diets, not a keto, but higher protein diets where it's at. And the two most vital macronutrients, or are proteins and fats. You can do without carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is your energy source, so you're going to use carbs. Like for a meat or something, you can carb load up and kind of get that energy from that. But as long as your fats and proteins are high, you're going to be good.
So fats and protein, is that the secret diet?
That's a secret diet, man. Just meat and veggies, man. That's where it's at. Everything. 80% of your diet should be meat and veggies. Honestly, like everything else, you can eat whatever else you want.
So I imagine the hard part for most people is just the prep, making it happen. And that's what it is for me.
Planning.
Yeah.
And kind of like what I said earlier, I'm like, if you know you're going to have pasta and shit like that for dinner, don't eat as much. Or just eat a protein shake or chicken that morning or something for a snack, because you're going to carb load, carb and fat, later that night. So it's like, plan your day, man. It doesn't have to be that complicated. People will try to make fitness way too. Doing their whole, unless you're a bodybuilder and you have a specific goal of like, hey, I'm going to step on stage or I'm going to do a powerlifting meet or etc. But the average person, if they up their protein, and honestly, if you just up your protein and you hit your protein goals, you'll be fine, man. You're going to be set. So you're going to hit your goals.
You got any little tips or secrets? Because you got 2 little girls. Mm-hmm. You're busy with work. You probably don't always get the meal that you want in. Is there like a protein bar you go by? Is it like you just skip it, say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to cut?
Yeah.
And I'll eat a bigger meal later?
No, my biggest trip, I always like protein powders. I try to get most of my nutrients from Whole Foods. But C4, Cellucor has a good protein powder you can get too. Oh. I got a code, man. I got a code you can use.
Let's put that code up, Randy.
We'll put that
in the
right
video.
Across the bottom.
Yeah, I didn't know C4 made
no,
protein.
The Cellucor, yeah. Cellucor. So
yeah.
Same company. So I always do protein powders. But man, honestly, just plain. I usually eat a big dinner. Like I'll eat a little bit in the morning, big dinner at night. I always have something laid out to cook. I love to cook too. Like you, man. We love to grill some steaks and potatoes and meat and potatoes, man.
So question for you on this. Most people say you have to have let's say 7 meals a day. Mm-hmm. Little protein because your body can only absorb so much. Mm-hmm. Could you get all your protein, let's say, in 2 meals?
Yeah. You'd be fine, man. Your body, dude, that whole 7, we can get kind of conspiracy. That whole 7 meals a day, whatever. Yes and no, it is hard to eat. Let's say you're a powerlifter or a bodybuilder and you're trying to eat 300 grams of protein. I don't know why you would ever want to eat 300 grams of protein a day. But it would be hard to eat 150 grams twice a day. So that's why they break it up. And also it's supplement companies throw that out there to be like, hey, buy our shakes. There's your 2 snacks a day. They're like they push that 7 meals a day because you're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you're going to have your shake after breakfast, your shake after lunch, and you'll have your bedtime shake or your pre-workout or your post-workout. The supplement companies definitely ran with that a lot, and we're like, yeah, you need your 7 meals a day, and that's why even like the Atkins diet, they have their Atkins bars and all that stuff just to sell. You got to be weary of that stuff too, and you got to find out what works for you, man. But,
so it's really just about hitting your protein totals for the day.
Yeah, and then
not about
the studies show out there. It doesn't really matter when you consume and stuff, but. It's really depends on the person, man. Everybody's so different. Like I don't usually eat before I work out. I feel like crap if I eat a bunch of food. I'm tired, whatever. So I usually eat post-workout, start getting all that food in and stuff.
Because even that training course I took,
it was probably pushing 7.
No, they were. I think they said your body can only absorb 20 grams of protein at a time.
That's not true.
So they were like, if you drink a 40-gram protein shake, you're only going to pee out 20 grams.
No, it depends. I mean, there's so many different studies out there that say that combat it. You know what I mean? But from everything I read, as long as you're hitting your macros for the day, you should be fine. And your calories, your calorie intake is.
I remember I used to take a lot of creatine back then.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they used to say that too.
And they would say
water retention. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, they would be like your body naturally produces, I want to say 2 grams of creatine a day.
So you only need.
And they would say, but your body can only absorb a total a day of 5 grams.
Yeah.
But then I was over here probably taking 20 grams of creatine a day. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's working for me.
Well, there's studies, and then there's studies showing that because I love creatine as a supplement. It's a great supplement. Brain function, joint health, everything. It helps charges your ATP in your cells. So it's a power. Scientists, they always say this in biology. Powerhouse of the cell, your ATP, whatever. But it helps fuel your cells and your muscle cells, and it does have a little bit of water retention, but not a lot. But they're, they'll do like a creatine load. So you're doing 10 grams a day of creatine, and then you're moving to 5 or whatever. But I do creatine. That's one of my main supplements I take is creatine every night.
Would you say the number one supplement you could take is steroids?
Yeah, steroids is probably the trick, man. I tell you what. No, yeah, let's talk about that, man. Just for a second of like how much there is in the realm of fitness, and how many people you look at and you're like, oh, I want to look like this guy, I want to look like that guy, and there is probably some supplementation. So that's a hard thing too, especially with social media, and you're scrolling, you see all these great bodies and great physiques, and you're like, oh, why don't I fucking look like that? Why don't I look like this guy right here? And I was like, there probably is 99% some supplementation being added to that.
Oh,
so
yeah, everybody's on trend.
everybody's on some trend, man.
Everybody's on
just
trend.
a little bit of trend, and it helps you out. But I mean, it's it's Mimi talk TRT is being really popular right now. It's one of those things. If it's TRT for somebody that has low T, life changer. I mean, that talk about something that can change your life.
I'm on it. I've done TRT. Like when I came out of the military.
Well, let's do that real quick. I don't know if you talked about this on the show.
I'll talk about everything.
Yeah. What were your levels of T when you got out of the military?
I got out of the military, and I was 29.
29, which you should be on your peak.
Yeah, they said
testosterone.
I should be between, I think, 700 and 1,000 for my T level. I was 270. 270.
270.
Yeah.
Which is like a 6-year-old man.
Yeah, very low.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of joint pain. I had a lot of shoulder and neck pain. I just had a lot of pain.
You just felt like crap.
I felt terrible. I had a bunch of injuries at that time, so I lost a ton of weight because I couldn't squat, I couldn't run.
You couldn't do any of your lifts.
I couldn't do a lot of stuff. I was in a lot. There was times I would have to hold the handrail going down the staircase in my house.
Yeah, you just didn't feel good.
And this is when I'm between age 27 and 29.
Crazy, yeah. It should be your prime.
It should have.
Physical prime for a male is
so you can't
30s.
do TRT when you're in the military. They don't allow it. But when I got out of the military, I got on TRT slow. It was a slow. It took a while. I probably didn't actually feel the effects.
And you
until
got
3 months.
So that was it takes a while. But that was a while ago. Now it's very common now. I mean, they're showing all the positives of being on testosterone replacement and everything. I'm not on it yet.
They put me on HGH as well.
Yeah, human growth.
It was like a type of HGH to heal my joints. And massive difference.
Felt better, yeah.
I would say probably 6 to 8 months. I actually felt like I could lift again without just being like, man, my shoulder is just so bad.
And that hormones are so tricky on people, man. It's one of those things, especially as a man, and you run, and you're like, man, what's wrong with me? I'm tired and stuff like that. And I'm like, I always tell people, I'm like, if you can afford it, I was like, go get your hormones tested.
Yeah.
And go see what's going on, because it might be something simple as throwing some TRT into your routine or doing something like that. So,
because I think especially with just the amount of stress we are as guys, with the amount of workload we do for just any job, 40 hours a week. Our food industry is terrible in America.
Yeah, the big cheap testosterone killers.
Yeah, all of this processed foods and sugars. It kills your
sleep,
teeth.
stress, crappy food, not enough protein.
All the chemicals we're exposed to. I mean, even just deodorants, body soaps, all that kind of stuff. It does kill your T levels. Yeah. So, TRT was great for me. I still take it, and it's really good for me. But I know a lot of people in the fitness industry, a lot of people just on Instagram, they run way beyond TRT.
Yeah. There's always
way beyond.
Anybody that's saying on stage, the bodybuilders or whatever, they're usually running all kinds of shit.
When I see a guy that's 260 pounds with 6% body fat, I'm like, man, chicken rice.
You did not chew chicken rice. But let's talk about the realm of, I always tell people, because my goal for me, if we were training consistent, my goal for us is to be here. You got this obesity, overweight, crazy life, unhealthy life, and then you got this steroid, heavy ripped, whatever life. We should always be in the middle with everything in our life. We should always be balanced with fitness, with our relationships, with nutrition, with work, everything. We should always try to aim to be balanced and not onto one spectrum or the other. So that's my goal of fitness, is to always stay in the center. I'm not afraid to go on a date and eat cake and stuff, because that's part of my fitness is a healthy relationship. I'm not afraid to, because there's people that would bring food to a party or something, or go have a drink. I'm like, dude, that's not living. Or go go skip something because it's not, you got to work out first or whatever. So I'm like, I used to be like that, man. When I was new into my old marriage or whatever, when I was new into a relationship, I would always put fitness first in a lot of aspects of things. I'm like, oh, I got to work out before we go do this on a Sunday, or I got to go do this before this. And then especially as becoming a father, I've learned that it's okay to skip a workout, dude. It's okay to go hang out with your kids and do something instead of having to get a workout in or doing stuff first. Like, I've learned that, and that was something I had to like mature and grow into as well, because I would always put things first before things that should have been put first, you know?
Well, that's a good topic to go into next. Let's talk about your book.
Yeah.
Fatherhood, struggles of all that stuff. What's the name of the book again?
Single Dad's Guide to Everything. Single Dad's Guide to Everything.
To everything.
And that was a therapeutic project. I've always wanted to write a book.
Yeah.
And I got divorced about, I've been separated for almost 2 years now, which is something. So I always had this to-do list of things I wanted to do. I wanted to do a book, and I wanted to do a fitness book. And then my divorce happened and everything. And I started kind of like dabbling every night. It was kind of a therapeutic thing. So I started writing a book, and I'm a father too. I got 2 little girls. And I started to write in this book, and I wanted to be just fitness. And then I started incorporating some dad stuff in there. So now this book is like a fitness parenting book. And it's done well on Amazon, man. It's done well.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Let's take a quick
break.
little break. Yeah. We'll pull that book up and take a look at it, and dive into that.
It doesn't matter the time you wake up or when you get going. The important thing is you begin. And everyone starts somewhere. Each individual journey looks different from beginning to end. Alone or in the crowd, we are moving forward. And all can use accountability. A push or a direction. The choice is yours every day. Whether to sit and watch the world turn, or to test your limits a bit further tomorrow than yesterday. We have but one go at this. We might as well make it count. Don't be someone that says they can, yet don't. Do, and be what others only dream of.
All right, well, we're back from the break. We got your book here.
Single Dad's Guide to Everything.
Singles Dad Guide to Everything. So just looking on the back of it, talk about surviving grocery store meltdowns and secrets to keeping your sanity. And I mean, there's a lot with being a single dad.
Yeah.
So you and your you had divorce, and you got 2 little kids.
2 little girls.
4 and 2.
Yeah, 4 and 2.
4 and
they
2?
just turned 4 and 2. Yeah.
So obviously, it's kind of it's tough.
It is.
And
tough.
to maintain your physical fitness during something like that.
And sanity. Yeah, man. I'm still going through it in the sense of like the emotional struggle with like divorce and stuff. And I tell you what, this is something. That's something that book kind of came out of, because one, it was therapeutic for me, so I wrote it, whatever. But something that gets overlooked is like the man viewpoint in the divorce, I think. Obviously you're married and stuff like that, but we know, we have mutual friends that have been divorced and stuff, and and women tend to always get I don't know, men are always in the wrong in a divorce. Men, whatever, it doesn't matter what happens, whatever. Men are always the shitheads, the ones that whatever. So, so that book kind of came from that, in the sense of like a man's viewpoint of like how to keep your sanity with work, and how to take care of your kids the best you can. Because some parents, some dads out there that divorce, and they're like, here's my check every month. I know, I'll see my kids every other week. And some dads are cool with that, and that wasn't me, man. I was like, I want to see my kids as much as I can, so I'm gonna fight tooth and nail to see that and make sure that happens and all that. And I had to, and I did, because I mean, kind of like what I said before, dude, being a dad, and that I thought my identity was in fitness, and it's not. It's being a dad, man. Like being a dad is probably the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life, is having these 2 beautiful little girls that I got to take care of. So I was like, I had to get my shit together. I had to learn how to I was married for 10 years, and it was a long time, and I had to learn how to navigate, being a single guy, single dad again, and how to provide and how to take care of everybody, take care of myself, and not lose my shit. So that's kind of where that book came from, and it kind of led to that, dude. It was an emotional time, and that book was kind of like my outlet for it. So,
well, I mean, also, this isn't a divorce isn't a quick thing that happens.
No,
and
it took a while. It was
your body is your billboard for your business.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was like, how do I maintain all this emotional? Because I'm sure you probably didn't want to work out.
No,
You probably didn't want to eat your proteins.
There'd be so many times I'm like, what message of a lawyer I'm going to get today? God, I was joking. I did like this one podcast and I got like a cease and desist letter like right away. So I'm like, hopefully we don't get this one. I'm like, it's so crazy of like.
I got 17 attorneys.
We'd be all right.
I'm good.
Like, I was like, hope you're ready for a cease and desist letter. You talk about anything.
Yeah.
You start telling the truth on it. No, it's, it was hard, man. And I'm finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And the importance, a lot of times when people get a divorce, they're so at each other that the kids get second fiddle to everything. Like they get all that. And it's, I think when two adults can finally put their troubles aside and say, hey, we're parents, we got to take care of these kiddos. That's when things get healthy and get better. And we're finally getting to that point, man. I think it took a little bit, but I think we're finally
That's
getting
good.
there.
Was there something that pushed you to keep working out during that time and eat properly, or was it like something specific, or was it?
Bro, that was my saying. No,
That was your therapy?
That was my therapy, dude. Fitness, and I feel like that's kind of like our topic of the show of like how cool fitness can be for so many aspects of your life. And fitness was that for me, man. I kind of stopped caring about, I want to keep weight. And I was like, I'm just working out. I'm just going to try to string 5 workouts together this week instead of missing one workout, or, because it's amazing when you're emotionally stressed and stuff, how draining that is on your whole body. And I didn't feel like shit, dude. So it's like, fitness definitely kept me going. That was like and the gym is my safe place. So going to the gym, being around friends and stuff, that was such a good, place for me to be, and it's a healthy place to be. And I always tell people, I'm like, you'd rather be at a gym than a bar. I was like, you want to meet people, go meet people at a gym over a bar. I'm like, those are the good people you're going to meet. And, if they're valuing their health, they're going to be people that you want to keep around. So
you just found a way to channel your energy instead of going to the bar, instead of eating a bunch of Little Debbies. You're like, I'm just going to put it back into the gym. Even though you're there all day training people, but you're still like, this is what I'm going to do.
I have clients now. This is funny. I have clients now that just found out I was divorced. They're like, what, you're divorced? I can't believe it, blah, blah. And like I was like, yeah, it's been a minute. And people are like just blown away by it. They're like, you've been holding it together so well. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to air out my dirty laundry too much. So I let other people do all that stuff. So I'm like,
no, I mean, it's usually when I see guys get divorced, you see their health go.
Yeah.
You can tell something happened. Like they put on 10, 20 pounds. They're not working out no more. They look exhausted.
Yeah.
They're not taking care of themselves. But, I never saw that with you.
No, I had to step up, dude.
Yeah.
No, yes, I had 2 little girls to take care of, man.
And that's kind of, does that book go a little bit into how to take care of yourself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That book is fitness and family, and the little things that I'm still working on as a person and as a dad and as a co-parent. That's kind of what that book was about. So, and it's actually done well on Amazon. It's on Amazon. I haven't done the Kindle version yet. I got to do all that, and I would like to do it on a little bit. It's a good little.
So
Amazon
no
version.
digital copy, just
just that. I need to do the Kindle version. $8.99 Amazon, man. You can
$8.99.
$8.99.
That's affordable.
That's affordable. It's a cheap book. It's quick read.
You'll sign it
pages.
if someone buys it. If they bring it to you, you'll sign it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll sign that copy. So that's yours, man. Expect it to be read by today.
Yeah.
And there's stories of, there's a few stories of like me and my girls in there and stuff like that. So that's cool.
I know from your social media, you and your girls, you actually put them in working out.
Oh,
I know they're young, but they're still, you get them a little bit working out.
Yeah, usually, because I don't bring them I have a home gym, and I love having my home gym because they'll just come hang out with me, and it's like a good bonding time. I have stuff set up for them, and that's such a big part of who I am, and I want that to kind of rub off on them. Because I want them to value health, value of like, being strong. And it's amazing how many people go their whole life without realizing how strong they can be physically. I mean, it's like, I want them to know that you can handle anything hard. So.
Yeah. No, I think it's good to get your kids involved working out early. Like my dad would.
Well, you just said that.
My dad maybe do like push-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear most people say like, oh, I don't want my kid working out till like age 12 or 15 because it stunts their growth.
That's another thing that combative, like the amount of weight you have to lift as a young person to injure your growth plates would be astronomical. It's something you wouldn't. But another thing is too, I think the biggest thing with age and fitness is maturity level, because it is hard to get somebody younger to say, hey, we're going to go do 3 sets of 10 or whatever. I always encourage sports. That's when sports come in the sense of like soccer, get them to play and move, because, kids don't move enough. So the maturity level to kick a soccer ball is a lot less than it is to say, hey, we're going to go bench press or do pull-ups. So that's the only thing where like age comes in a factor. But if your kid's showing interest in lifting a barbell and stuff, they have so many options now, weights and things for kids, that it's not going to stunt their growth. It's not like I said, the studies show the amount of weight you have to do to actually injure a growth plate is like 5-6 times their body weight. And that would just be poor training all around if somebody's doing that. So, no, get your kid to work out. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Come and do push-ups. Get them to hop on your back. And it's great bonding time with your kids. It's a good bonding time.
I just feel like at that early stages in life, you're so moldable.
Habits.
Yeah, you're developing habits.
You're just developing habits at that age. So if they see fitness as a normal thing in their childhood, then they're going to continue that, hopefully. So, dude, I love it. It is hard to work out with them, because a 20-minute workout turns into a 2-hour workout, because it's like, don't fall, picking them up, they're hanging, they want to do pull-ups, they want to hang on the ropes and all this stuff. So it's, but dude, I love it, man. I wouldn't trade. Dude, they're my babies, man. So if you see my social media, you'll know, like,
oh, you always post.
It's literally just fitness in them, man. They're like, any chance I get.
In here, you talk about the grocery store meltdown. Can you give us a little preview of what that was about?
That could be any time. They love that. One of the easy, I always joke, I'm like, one of the easiest entertaining things to do is to go to like Publix and put them in they have those, they call them the drive-y carts with like the card thing, like drive thing. Just put them in there and push them around Publix for like 20-30 minutes, and it's like a field, it's like going to Disney. But oh my God, if they want something and they don't get it, it is throwing blueberries. Just the other day, like Cohen, my youngest, he just opened a thing of blueberries all over the floor in the middle of the fruit
in the
aisle.
store?
Yeah, the fruit aisle, and then like everybody's staring at me. I literally just picked it up and had to apologize, and just like, she's losing her mind and stuff. But dude, it's being a dad and navigating situations. I think let's talk about this. Like your dad, if you don't mind me talking about this.
Yeah.
Your dad come to your games, and you actually, in your brain, broke down the moment you saw your dad in the stadium. Isn't that crazy how important that was to you? I always want to be that. I always want to be that memory for my girls. Like, whatever they're doing, I'm going to be there. So,
I used to think I didn't care that my dad didn't come to my games.
Isn't that funny?
Until the moment he showed up, and then I realized how much I cared.
Yeah.
Because before I was just like, whatever. Dad doesn't want to show up.
Dads get shit on, dude, so much, in the sense of like, it's funny of like how little a dad can do and be considered a good dad. I'm like, oh, he shows up at the game or whatever, and dads, I'm definitely not shitting on moms, because in this situation I went on or been through or whatever, I learned the value of both roles, of a mother's role and a father's role. And so I'm more talking about dads of like, dude, growing up, your only job is to provide for your family and show up a little bit or whatever. But if, like, I think you're required you should be doing a little bit more, man. Like, I know you should be a fucking man and work. You're like, yeah, your job is to work and provide. No matter what, that is your job, to work, provide, and be a good man. But dude, it's okay to, like, you should require more of yourself as a father, and be like, I'm going to be at fucking every game. If I have to move some clients around or move my schedule around or whatever, I'll be at every sporting event, every dance recital, every school event, because that's my job, is to be a dad, to be a hardworking man, and to take care of them. So, dad should step up a little bit, if and I'm seeing that now. I'm seeing there are dads that actually step up and can do it all. And they still get shit on though. it doesn't matter. So
No, you can always tell when someone had like good parents, especially a good father.
good fathers.
You can tell.
Yeah.
And compared to people like who unfortunately didn't have good parents or
Especially fathers. So you always joke, I'm like, oh, that girl has daddy issues or something like that. And
it's true, but like it's kind of sad, right? Like I always say, like all the problems we have in the world are because of men, because men didn't do something, right? Like they didn't raise their kid right, they didn't do this, but like, I mean, I have friends that even like in their mid 30s and 40s, they'll be like, I had one of them. Well, he was like, hey, can you show me how to use like these tools because I didn't have a dad.
Isn't that crazy?
And I'll be like, it'd be like a 40-year-old guy. And
And,
I'm like,
and it would kind of like, you kind of laugh a little bit. You're like, what?
well, I'm kind of like, what? But then I'm like,
but I'm like, damn, there's some deeper stuff to that.
but then I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how lucky I was to have my dad show me how to like change a spare tire or use just a Phillips screwdriver,
Something stupid like that.
you know, hammer and nails. Where there's literally guys that have never
done
been. But then they're kind of like, when you get older, you're more afraid to ask, like, how do I change this or fix this? So like when my friend asked me that, at first I was kind of like, what?
Yeah.
But then I was just like, oh wow, like
You start thinking about it.
yeah. I'm like, nah, it's, you know, I didn't realize.
I think the rules of being a dad have definitely changed in the sense of like that you should do that, and then just, dude, you just gotta fucking be there. Because one guy I was talking to, and I was like, man, do you have any advice for being a good dad? Actually, I have two good advice for being a dad. Is one, if you're asking like, how do I be a good dad? You're already there. Because if you're worried about you're gonna be a great dad. If you're like, how am I gonna do it? You're gonna already be a fucking good dad. And then two, you always set the tone for your house. And I would always remember this when I was married and when I'm not. I'm like, if my girls are there and I'm coming home from a long day, I could be fucking tired. I'd be irritable about whatever. As soon as I sit in my car and I'm like, all right, my girls are in there, I'm setting the tone for that house. As soon as I come in, I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna be energetic. I'm gonna be happy. Because when they come home and they miss you and they haven't seen you all day, that's the first thing they're gonna see. I don't want them to see a tired dad. I don't want them to see a grumpy dad. I want them to see somebody excited to see them. So you set the tone for your house. And that's something that a friend told me a long time ago, and it stuck with me. And I was like, you set the tone, and then you carry that on for every day, bro. You go into work, I'm setting the tone for my day, dude. I'm gonna go into work, am I gonna be, fuck, it's Monday, I gotta work, whatever? Or are you gonna be like, dude, I'm gonna just rock today. I'm gonna be the best version of me. I'm gonna kill it, whatever. So that's something always in the back of my head with being that. So
No, that is perfectly said. Like, that's what was told to me as a young sergeant in the military. That's how I felt running a business. Like, I'm setting the tone and the temperature with all the employees in the business. If I come in there grumpy and upset,
they're gonna be grumpy.
they're gonna be grumpy upset. If I come there very positive, let's go kill it, let's get after it.
It's amazing.
Change it. Even just here in the household, like you're the man of the house.
It sounds silly, but it's true though. It's so true.
You're the king of the castle, and if you're not doing good, nobody else is doing good.
No.
And having that positive, it's a hard mindset. I actually really liked it. When I'm in charge of others, it makes me not selfish.
Yeah.
I can't think about how I feel.
Bro.
I have to worry about other people's feelings. So like when I was going through like military training, when I was in times where I'm in charge of other guys, I realized it later how much easier my training felt because of that. Because I wasn't worried about how I was feeling, how tired I was. I was just concerned about getting them through the training event.
And see that when that time comes or whatever, like you'll be a great dad just because you already have that mindset and you're like these are little people. They depend on me. You're their whole world. And we're like, it's my job to make sure they're.
Well, I am a dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Shih Tzu dad.
Shih Tzu dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, look at me, dude. I come in, they're the happiest dogs I've ever met. So,
yeah.
But it's one of those things, man. It's gonna be. It's you gotta set that tone, but.
Yeah. So good book for guys, especially if unfortunately they're going through a divorce or about to go through a divorce. I mean, it's an unfortunate part of the world, but it's real.
I don't recommend it. I always tell people, I'm like, bro, if you can make it work, because it is all kind of shit. But on, like I said, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. We got me and you. I'm divorced. We both have friends that are divorced, and it happens, and then you learn to adapt and change, and then hopefully you get lucky, find some other partner. And
I mean, I've almost gone through it.
Yeah.
Been married 15 years now, but
Yeah, that's long.
there's been times where it was just
Isn't
like
that crazy?
we were getting divorced.
Relationships of all aspects, friendships, whatever, work relationships, they're very difficult.
You know those photos that you talked about when you first came to my house? And we were like, oh, who's that guy? He's so young. I said that was in 15.
Yeah.
That was actually our pre-divorce photos, or I should say post-divorce.
Yeah.
It was, she was in Japan, I was here. We met up in Guam, and we told each other that we would either leave Guam married or we would leave divorced.
Isn't that crazy?
So we actually went there on very bad terms.
Good.
Like we were actually like supposed to get divorced, and like the moment we saw each other, it just like
Click. It worked.
it just is like everything that
You
we
have to
had
decide
said.
that. You have to decide, and it does take both parties that want to work. So
Because I think at that point in time, she had probably been in Japan for like almost a year.
this is hard. I don't know how you guys did that, dude. That would, bro. Good for you guys.
I will say a lot of it is her, just because fortunately she was raised to really believe in marriage, like Filipino culture.
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of a problem with Western and American culture.
Yeah.
Everyone's just is kind of taught like you don't need your man, forget him.
Yeah.
You don't need to make it work, and they're just so quick to divorce like that. Whereas her, we were like, hey, we're gonna get divorced, but it wasn't a very easy answer there. And even then, it's like neither one of us really want it. We were just saying more things out of like anger, but to actually like go through with it, I mean, like none of us either even called a lawyer or any of that.
Yeah. Did all this stuff. Good.
But I just feel like now people are taught, oh, just get a divorce.
It's
No
okay.
big deal. Just get a divorce.
No, it's not.
Like,
It's hard as shit. It's a lot of work. What do you think? What's some of your advice for the relationship? But like, what's some of the most important advice you have on a relationship?
honestly,
Yeah.
going back to kind of what you said about setting the tone,
Setting the tone. Man.
I wish I would have realized that earlier in my life.
I think it's
where
maturity though.
It's a mature thing. Because I got married at 20.
I got married at 23.
So a lot of it really is realizing, even at that age, like you are setting the tone because I think a lot of people think it's just like kind of like a joint thing, like we're equal. And yes, we are equal in a sense, but the wife chooses you to be the man of the house. She's expecting you to be that security, the provider, the everything.
All that stuff, yeah.
And even though she's
And I
complimenting all
know
that,
it sounds like
sounds kind of weird in today's time.
yeah,
but
in today's time, but
that's just how we're programmed.
It's still kind of how we're programmed, and that's okay though. It's
Yeah.
okay to have these like expectations as a man, expectations as a woman, and all these things in a healthy stance.
Yes,
But because some people take it way too far on that.
They
do. But
I guess I just would have realized when I was earlier that everything is kind of based off my actions, the tone of the house, the tone of everything. So even like when I am tired coming in from work or deployment, whatever it is, I got to change that role where like I'm not tired, I'm not angry. I got to put on the positive face because I've been gone all day.
Yeah. I mean, dude, she hasn't seen you, so it's like all that stuff, so.
Yeah, so we definitely set the tone. That would be a big piece of advice.
And not a good. That's such a dude. So I forget who told me that, but he told me that, and I was like, it stuck with me so much. Like every day, whatever I'm about to do, I kind of just sit. It's always in my car because I always sit there before I go into work or go see my girls or whatever. I'm like, all right, man, this is you get that one chance. You come in pissy, and it's gonna be like kind of rub off on everybody. And especially now, I don't get it. With the bad thing about divorce is you lose a lot of time with your kids on both ends. And this sounds depressing, and in the sense of like, you get your kids for 18 years or whatever. Well, you get divorced now, that shit, you cut that in half. I get them for 8 Christmases, whatever, you know what I mean? 6 Christmases. So like, I don't have them this year for Christmas, my ex does. So next year I'll get them for Christmas, but it's like, so your time is cut in half with them, especially at a young age. So I'm super sensitive to always being positive and excited and all that, because dude, time is short with everything, and I'm like, it goes by fast. So.
Oh yeah, another big advice I give to a lot of young guys for getting married or when even they're dating, I'm always like, if you don't have the same goals going forward, like if she just wants you to like, I saw this all the time in the military, in the pipeline, but the guy's trying to go be an operator and his girlfriend or wife is just like, I just want you to be home. I don't want you to do this job. So if she's not there,
All automatic conflict right there.
Complete opposites. If you want to go out and become the biggest entrepreneur there is, and your girlfriend's like, I just want to be a white picket fence and
chill,
3 kids,
nothing crazy.
there's going to be conflict there. And that's where me and Riz, we were very driven.
You guys
both
have the same
military.
goals, yeah.
Then once we got out of the military, it was like we're working business together. There was no like separate, different paths.
And it shows. You guys together, it shows on that.
We complemented each other.
Yeah,
So you have to have someone that compliments you. Then I also say, another big thing is your wife's a reflection of you as a man. So if your wife was the biggest hoe in town, like it always ends in a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
It never works.
And people are like, why didn't that work out?
If your wife was the biggest hoe bartender for 10 years and you think now she's changed for you, maybe she did for 2 years, and every single time the red flags start coming out, all these stories. So I always try to get guys to think about picking your spouse as the biggest financial investment of your life, because it really is.
That's a good point, yeah.
It really is the biggest financial investment. Like, are you going to keep this property for the rest of your life, or is this just a 5-year hold?
Yeah.
That's
good.
And if you guys are, it is going to be the biggest financial investment, because when you guys get divorced and your finances get destroyed, or you're paying alimony for the rest of your life, or half your finances are gone, that's the hardest part I see with guys, is being able to recover after a big divorce, financially, mentally, everything.
Mentally, and that's kind of what,
especially if you have kids, it's very, very hard. Or I mean, like, I think I just saw something recently. It said like Dr. Dre's alimony every year is like $100 and something million he has to pay to his wife every year. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
And if you break that down on a smaller scale, let's just say you're making, I don't know, $50K, and you got to pay her, I don't know, whatever it is, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 the rest of your life.
It's a lot, man.
It's hard to go do other things when you're paying alimony, or I mean,
save. It's hard to save, dude.
It's hard to save. I know guys that they have to give half their retirement to their wife from leaving the military.
Yeah.
It's like half your pension's gone, and the pension's already small enough. So it literally is the biggest investment of your life. So if there's any doubt that this isn't the girl I want to be with for the rest of my life, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, do not do it.
I think what you said is finding people with the same goals is super important, because they used to say like opposites attract, whatever, but do they though? Like, they might attract in the beginning, but it's like, if your goal is to be healthy and all these things, or if your goal is like, I value family and relationships, and I don't value things or pretty things, big houses, things like that. Like that's cool, but I don't put my personality or value into that. And that I value relationships and healthiness and family and balance and stuff. So that was something that I kind of like was conflicting, is like I had, I was putting all my value in this, and other things were valued over here, and it was stuff. So like things like your values and like your drive and stuff like that. So
well, I see the problem with a lot of my guy friends in the dating world is, a lot of times the girls they're going after don't have the same goals as them. So they're like, yes, I want to go travel the world. Yes, I want to do all these, let's call them luxury things. But they're like, no, I don't want to work. I don't want to help you grow your business. I don't want to complement your business at all. I just expect you to pay for it all.
Oh man, or get shit on for going to the gym or doing something like that. Like things like that. I'm like, this is my business.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff. So it's like, it's so true though. It's like, I want to do all these things, but then it's that give and take.
You got to have someone that's like, hey, you know what? I want to grow a business with you. I want these long-term
And then you
goals.
reap the rewards together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go into sponsorships. Because,
You're working on some.
Thank you for sponsoring this episode.
You're welcome.
By the way,
Yep.
we'll need to collect payment immediately. Following this episode.
Send me the invoice.
But I'm kind of an influencer myself, and I don't have any sponsors. So let's talk about you. You got a lot of sponsors.
I've been lucky to work with a lot of cool companies, and I always work with companies that I actually believe in. So C4 was one of them. That was one of my originals companies. C4 Cellucor Extend.
So did you message them and you're like, please sponsor me, I'm a trainer? Or they're just like,
kind of like in the beginning, they during COVID, they reached out to me because COVID was weird. Let's remember, I hate saying it, but COVID for trainers was weird. Gym shut down. I was like, fuck, I'm out of work. I was like, you know, I was going to people's houses working out. Some of the clients that kept wanting to work out, I was training them because all the gyms shut down and stuff. And then C4 did this thing, and they're like, hey, you've helped us out. We want to help all these trainers out. So they picked me up as one of their like micro influencers or whatever. And they're getting big now. They got all kinds of companies, but you know, they reach out, and a lot of these companies are like, depending on your level or whatever, C4, you know, they give you a cut of what people spend, use their discount code, and so it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
So it's kind of like commissions. You advertise a brand.
Like C4, yeah, C4 is cool. They don't really give me anything. You know, some companies like, hey, can you post like 2 stories or whatever, 2 Instagram posts. C4, they just let me post whenever, and I promote my like, you know, like Force Fitness _ Kyle code. You get 20% off. And then I get a kickback and stuff. So.
This isn't the only sponsorship you have.
I got C4. I got Butcher Box. I got Grain Box. I got a few other companies. Butcher Box is cool. I like to cook, so I'm always cooking. And then that was one of those things. Like I started getting Butcher Box, and I start posting their stuff. And then next thing you know, like they liked what I post. And I try to post things that are not. I just want to post real stuff, man. Like knowledge. I don't post stupid videos or, you know, 33 questions in me.
Questionable.
Yeah. Like I just want to post knowledge and try to add value to people. So and a lot of my stuff is shout outs to clients that I work with that work really hard. So I want to share their achievements and things like that.
So you would never advertise a brand that you didn't actually use or believe in?
No, I mean, I'm sure I have. There's a few companies that like, I'm like, oh, let me try it out or whatever. I'll shoot you a post and stuff, but like C4, Butcher Box has been a good one. Trying to think what else, man. I got a couple companies that always reach out to me, but
so
yeah.
I find a lot of guys, especially in the real estate world, or people trying to come into real estate, even just any kind of business, most guys don't want to do social media.
Yeah.
They don't want to advertise themselves. They don't want to make stories and videos. Well, I was kind of the same way. Like I didn't have social media.
I was late to Instagram.
I was very late. I didn't get social media myself until 2017 when I was already like kind of out processing the military. And it wasn't like I didn't want to post in there like, oh, I have a listing or this, because I didn't want to do. I know all my friends are going to be like, you know, just making fun of me, you know. But that was my insecurities of it, right?
Yeah.
That's really what it was. But I didn't realize social media to me is kind of like your resume.
It's your resume
to the world.
It really is. You can, if you look on my Instagram page, you can see, or you know, I'm not dabbling in TikTok, or I don't really do a lot on Facebook, but I love Instagram because it's been a great platform for me. You look on my Instagram, you know how I train, you know how I talk, you know how I look, you know who I train and what I do. So and then click a link and you can pull up every like little company I work with or whatever I help out with. But it is your resume and your business card in the sense of like, I mean, I just trained the head football coach for Ohio State. He came down here either doing some tournament or whatever, basketball coach. I'm sorry, not football coach, head basketball coach for Ohio State. And I was like, how'd you find me or whatever? He's like, oh, your Instagram popped up. He's like, I was down here and just saw your Instagram. He's like, I really liked what you're doing. I'm training with somebody. Let me work out with you. Super nice guy, Chris. Instagram, bam.
Yeah.
Miles, my lacrosse guy. He came down and he was moving down here and he looked me up on Instagram first. He said, and he liked how I trained and like how I taught people and stuff. So,
I mean, that's kind of how I look at people too.
I mean,
like,
anything now.
If there's someone I've never just got introduced to or something like that,
Let me look him up.
I'm like, oh, this guy's weird.
He's weird.
You know, like,
He's
no,
weird
not,
pictures,
not
stupid
seeing
videos.
this guy.
Like,
or like, I mean, great example, Randy over here, videography. You can go on his Instagram, look at his video stuff, and you're like, oh wow, this is like.
I knew his videos before I just met him today. In person, so
you see his style, and you're
his
like,
style is like good videos.
Because it might not be the style you're looking for, but you can go on someone's social media like this is what I'm looking for.
And it's another chance to connect. And if you I think people put too much clout in social media too, in the sense of like their identity and like, oh, my likes, my whatever. It's it's a tool for your business. It's a tool for you to utilize. It's a free tool to utilize for business, man. And if you look at it like that and you don't put too much thought into it, and I did a little hip video the other day on hip mobility work, and I messed it up. It's a little annoying. I left the thing up there, but I'm like, it's a great video and people are liking it. And I had one lady's like, my physical therapist has been telling me to do this, and like it was cool. So
You talking about the one that me and you did?
we did our stretch video. This is another one. Yeah, me and your set. I like silly things
People
like that.
like those videos.
People do like those videos.
They're fun.
They are funny, and that's a thing too. Is like because all my videos are like so serious. Like I like to goof off 90% of the time. So like I do like when I get on camera, I like try to like serious. So I enjoy doing videos with you because it gets to show another like aspect of who I am and like how I train and like that. 90% I'm just.
We're gonna go make some after this.
We're gonna do some good videos.
The C4 is just
a lot of lighting. I know I'm already shaking. I'm on my third. I got 2 cans over here, bro. I'm like,
but yeah, no, the social media is bigger than what a lot of people realize.
And I mean, if you think about this is social media.
Think about if I didn't post this on social media, and it was just quietly on a YouTube channel with no advertisements. Yeah. You know, social media is just today's version of the newspaper of ads.
That people put too much crap into. They're like, and they just look at it too. That's what one thing is, they take it too serious when they shouldn't. And if they didn't take it serious, they'd probably do better.
But if you didn't have social media as a trainer, you wouldn't have sponsors.
I wouldn't have clientele that I have. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have sponsors. I wouldn't have the privilege to meet people. I mean, let's talk about us and like I know like Navy Diver and some of these people. Navy Diver. All these people that I've never even met, but trainers in New York, trainers in California, people in Australia, people in Europe, whatever. People I would never have the opportunity to meet, I've met and built a social media relationship with, and learn from but learn from fitness tips, fitness things like that. It's such a great platform to learn and all that. But
I wish we would have done this episode in our Navy Diver outfit.
No, we did. Speaking of sponsorship, we're
gonna put Navy Diver on here. We're gonna put a link on there, show his video. Maybe he's got a commercial. It might not. It's a little revealing.
You're model down there, man.
I mean, I am a published model on the Navy Diver Instagram, video, I should say.
Super random. We were talking about it, like super random relationship I had, and you clicked a saying, and you.
I think it was actually a video of you and Miles or something you were posting.
Yeah.
And I just saw in the comments, Navy Diver.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I know who this guy is.
Navy Diver, yeah.
And I click on it, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is at all.
Yeah.
But he was an Australian Navy diver. They do a very nice swimming apparel.
Yeah, they're different over there.
Yeah, and them boys are jacked and tan.
Dude,
I mean, ripped and tan.
We have the fat Americans over here.
Yeah,
I was like, man.
They definitely cater to the gays on their social media. I mean, these boys are just big.
Dude.
But after I started chatting with him a little bit,
and
he has a mental health foundation for their military, which obviously I'm big into that.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey man, I'm going to buy your stuff, because he donates to his foundation. I'm all about that. Mm-hmm. And the guy's a great guy. Even if I don't talk to him for a minute, he'll just message me and be like, hey man, haven't heard from you in a bit. How you doing?
Isn't that cool? But that's a prime, I mean, just because that's somebody mutual we know. But
and his outfits are great. I actually wear his little, I don't know what they're called, like boxer swimming shorts. They're a little short. But they actually are super
never
comfy.
Go too short, bro.
I took them out to Mars one time and walked all around the sand trails in it. It was great.
It was good, man.
So, I like to show my legs off a little bit.
I mean, all that hard work.
Yeah, and the thighs are a little white, so I got to get them, tanned up.
It's cold right now.
But same thing, power of social media. Yeah. But no, I just usually find a lot of guys kind of like us. They're usually just kind of like more afraid to post. Yeah. They're not looking for clout, but they're just afraid to put themselves out there.
I think that's with everything, though.
It's more of a
people are hard to like. Hey, it's like, hey, world, this is me. This is who I am.
People don't know your story if you don't tell them.
Tell them, man, and it's okay to tell them. And people want to know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was thinking about our relationship, me and you, because I don't even know how we met. How the hell did we meet?
The gym.
The gym? Yeah.
I didn't like you when I first met you.
I didn't like you either.
Because I never spoke to you, but I didn't like you. I just didn't like the way it was like that.
The guy looked way too good.
It was like that meme I sent you. It's like when you see that nemesis of yours come in the gym, but you don't even know who he is. Because I see you in the gym, and I'm just like, what's this guy always looking at me for?
Yeah, I was like, man, this guy should be down the street.
And then I was always like, how is this guy a trainer when I'm stronger than him? Like
I don't even know. But for real though, like I don't even know how a relationship started, but I'm attracted to friendships and stuff, to real people that are honest and good people, and that's what you are to me. So I'm like, that came out of nowhere.
You said something nice to me.
Yeah, well, barely. We're on camera. But yeah, so I love genuine like good people and good relationships. So when I noticed that about you right away, and that was such a good friendship to have. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. No, I think we just started chatting randomly one day in the gym, and then just kind of went from there to always sharing videos on Instagram.
Always.
You're the person that I share the most videos with.
Do you? Oh yeah, you're number one.
Yeah, literally,
If I
it's
see
just like-
something, like I'm saying this to Howard.
yeah,
like,
it's always you and
stupid.
Eric, like the stupidest videos I find.
The stupidest videos.
Yeah,
Like, look at this guy.
it just cracks me up. Everything good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I just have a question.
oh yeah.
Was it after you sold your company that he became friendly, or was it?
No, it was before.
I thought he was poor. I thought he was a poor guy. I was like,
Most people at the gym, I mean, this is literally how I dress,
Yeah.
right? Oh, which by the way,
let's give them a shout out.
this T-shirt, my buddy
of
Kenny,
something.
it's his company. What's it called? Barrel. I forgot the name of it. I'll post it, but it's awesome. This actually is my favorite gym
Chewy.
T-shirt. Chewbacca, right?
He wears that to the gym quite a bit.
Yeah, but my buddy's a former SEAL, writes a bunch of like Hollywood movies now and stuff. But I don't know why I can't think of the name of his company. Just draw off my head, but he's got this awesome coffee mug with Tattoo Jesus.
Dude.
Or I'm sorry, Tattoo SEAL Jesus, and then this. But this is how I dress. I dress kind of
Yeah, I
homeless,
thought.
as Riz would call it.
Yeah, homeless. I would put it as homeless.
So, but yeah, no, Kyle was one of those people who took care of the homeless when I was in the gym. But yeah, most people think I'm just like some disgruntled veteran or
I knew I was like, don't mess with that guy, man. He's
or
pissed off
something.
about
But
something today.
most people had no idea who I was, and even after I sold the business,
Yeah.
until that magazine cover came out,
That
and
was-
people literally were coming up to me and they were like, "Hey, I saw your ad in the magazine."
They did.
Like,
People still.
people
like,
that didn't talk to me for 4
Isn't that
years.
funny,
in the gym.
though?
Yeah.
Hey, we're cousins.
We're cousins.
A lot of people, hey man, we all talk about some business. I think we got a
Like,
lot of
didn't
like
even
same
know.
interest. I'm like, well, we didn't have interest for the last 4 years.
Yeah,
why-
like, you don't- now
we
you wanna
do?
talk-
Like, yeah,
No.
you know. So
Isn't that funny, though?
But no, Kyle was with me from the beginning.
From day one, when you
Yeah, because we
started
were
from the
friends.
bottom.
We were friends before COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, we were always. Just,
Yeah.
You know, bro, it's one of those things. Like, anytime you build relationships just based on like what that person can do for you, pisses me off more than anything. And I'll have people come up to me and we'll try to build a relationship to meet somebody or to get some kind of real estate transaction or whatever. It really sets me off. I'm like, is there no? Because I contest to this. I love introducing, especially my clients, to people that can help them out. That's one of my favorite things, connecting people on a common ground. And I love it. I'm like, just Dave Warwick.
I was about to say that.
He is just a good man. And one of my older clientele that I train, and he's like, man, I want to donate some money and stuff. I'm like, well, let me introduce you to Jonathan Howard. He's got some good foundations to help with. And sure
Same
enough,
day, he's like, yeah,
let's do it, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just stuff like that. When I can put good people together, then that's one of my favorite things. So
Yeah. No, I always say this, but I don't network. I build relationships.
build a relationship.
And I really
sounds so salesy when you say that. Like, I don't know her, but it's true though.
It's like I actually want to have a relationship with that person. I actually want to hang out with that person. I want to get to know them. I don't want to just have a connection where I'm like, oh, I need this, I need this.
need
Like,
this, yeah.
I actually want you genuinely to be my friend.
I mean, the only reason I was on your friend for 4 years is to get on this podcast. And now that I'm here, I'm like, I'm never talking to you again, dude. I'm like,
exactly. I just wanted the book.
I just wanted
That's
the
all I
book.
wanted.
You got a book.
$8.99. I just wanted this book for free.
I wanted to sit in this couch, so
Yeah.
like, it's good.
But I like to do business with people I know.
Yeah.
And it was even like after I sold my business, and I actually did want to get more focus on physical fitness. I started training with you. Actually, I remember when I was in Italy last year, I posted that video. Like,
You did.
I
You
got
tagged me
my
in it.
I got my strength up a lot.
Yeah.
On my chest, but it was
remember
one of those
that.
things where I was like, I felt like I was still working out with the business, but there'd be times where I'd be in the gym,
And you
phones blowing up. I had to.
It
leave.
just kills your energy.
And I'm just like.
That's
'cause-
another thing too. I'll get clients. There's a few people come to mind that are high performers that are always working, grinding. I was like, put your phone down for 45 minutes. I'm like, whatever. Like, give yourself 45 minutes to shut your brain off and to just move some shit.
Yeah.
Move some heavy weight, and it will make you feel so much better, man.
Because even now, the way I train, I can't train the way I did when I was 16 or 20. Like, I have to do things a little different
a
just
little
because
slower, a little move. I mean, dude,
because of actual injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I just can't. Like, if you see me, I can't do like skull crushers, or I can't do the triceps
pull
with the
downs,
bar.
yeah,
I
hurt
can't.
your
Do,
elbows.
I can do
I
it a
always tease you.
rope,
I
but I
always
can't
tease
do
you
it that
about
way. It hurts. It actually does hurt, but that's where it's nice to have someone like you,
Like, go try this out.
even though I know a lot about working out, obviously,
Obviously, look.
but there's still some things I'd be like, hey man, I need some help with this, or my hips actually are tight, so which they are.
Yeah.
So
We
it
stretch out.
works out really good that way. So what's future plans for where's Force Fitness going?
For Cage Fit? Man,
Is it to dominate the fitness industry, number one trainer of the world? Or?
Yeah. I want to be able to be when people look back at training, I want to be able to help as many people as I can with fitness. Like I said, that's my calling. That's why I was here. So if I can touch as many people as I can, you know what I mean, with fitness and helping them get feeling better.
Sound a little weird.
Yeah, I know you looked at me. I saw.
No.
If I can really help out as many people as I can, but I always have, dude. I'm very goal oriented, so I got 2024 is coming up. I'm gonna push my app a little bit more. I got that set up. I'm gonna push my book a little bit. What we were talking about, how you get a little self conscious. I was a little self conscious about that book, and it's a good book, man. It's something I put a lot of heart into, and it was more for me, and like I should push it a little bit. So I'm gonna do things like that, and just gonna keep grinding, man. I'm excited about 2024. So what about you? What do you got?
Well, before I get to my goals, do you have a specific fitness goal for yourself for 2024?
Dude. Honestly, I know, kind of like post divorce, man. I was actually in really good shape. Like I was feeling good about myself, and like I was okay pulling back a little bit and just kind of maintaining. So I'm ready to kick my fitness back up a little bit and get back into more pre-divorce shape a little bit and stuff like that.
Does that mean like bigger size or less body fat?
Less body fat. I mean, you can only get so big, and so it's like there's not much more room to grow.
I would say that's probably my goal. My goal is always just to cut more body fat.
Me and your body types are the types that always are easy to gain weight, so we're always constantly cutting. So
I can gain weight.
I can easily gain weight.
I can gain weight really easy. The problem is cutting it.
Yeah.
For me, I know how to cut. I've done it. But it's such a slow.
You have to decide.
It's a very long process. I think
long process.
this is what, and I'm sure you see this a lot as a fitness trainer, but most people think they're probably going to get in shape in like 3 months because they see someone on Instagram post like, look where I went in 3 months. There's probably some chemicals involved in there, and there's probably a lot of intense workouts. That's 3 days a week.
It's very intense, and it's not feasible for a long-term goal.
Yeah.
You get these things that are. Because it's easy to lose weight. It's easy to lose 10 pounds. If I wanted you to lose 10, 20 pounds, I can get you to lose 10, 20 pounds in a month. We're going to put you on a treadmill, make you eat 1,000 calories a day. You will lose that weight, but it's not long term, and it's not going to be consistent. You're not going to feel great doing it. But setting long-term goals up, realistic long-term goals, and getting your metabolism going again, dude. Eating properly, and lifting heavy shit. A lot of times people trump cardio over weight training. Weight training is the best form of weight loss, is to weight train and lose body mass. Muscle is one of the best things to have on your body, is to have muscle, and you're not gonna be bulky, you're not gonna be overbit. You're like, every girl is like, oh, I don't wanna get bulky. I guarantee you get a lady weight training and putting muscle on, they're gonna look better, they're gonna feel better, they're gonna have better shape, especially for women, and men the same way. I mean, but yeah, weight training is one of the best forms of exercise.
I love it when people say, well, I don't want to get too bulky.
Yeah, everybody says that. I was like, I've been working out for 30 years, and I was like, I still am not bulky. I was like, I've been wanting to get bulky. So.
I had a guy I play golf with that would say,
I don't get hurt my golf game.
I'm like, bro, trust me, you are never going to get bulky.
I was like, your golf game's hurting because you're not lifting weights.
Trust me, you're good. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah. It doesn't come in 3 months.
Guys always say that. I was like, I don't want to mess up my golf game. I was like, you're not a pro golfer. I was like, you will be fine to work out. I was like, it'll actually help your back out. Everybody's like, oh, my back hurts, but I don't want to lift weights.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I don't think most people understand, like, it's not a 3-month journey. It's years.
It should be a lifelong journey. Fitness is a lifelong journey, and it should be implemented into your life as this is something I am. And let's talk, this sounds kind of deep too, and I always tell people, I'm like, people always say I'm fat. I was like, you're not fat. They always identify themselves as a fat person or whatever. I was like, you're not fat. You have fat. You have body fat on you. So it's like, it's not something that's going to be there forever. It's like, we can lose weight. They always put so much emphasis on like, I'm the fat person. I'm gonna, like, you're not. We're just got to get you in shape. We're going to get you moving. You'll be fine. So that's something people struggle with, man. You see that a lot. That being overweight, it's hard on people.
It is.
Emotionally. And people that pretend, God, I sound like a douche saying, people that say, oh, happy at every weight. I'm like, or love yourself at every weight. I was like, do you really? If you really loved yourself, would you let yourself be? Would you feed your kid everything you're feeding? You're eating. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. So
I don't think there's any person that's overweight that says, I wouldn't like to lose weight.
I wouldn't like to lose weight.
Yeah.
There's not even people that shouldn't lose weight that don't say like, you know what I mean? They're like people that are already in shape. They're like, I still want to lose 5 pounds. Or
That's me every day.
Every day, man.
I mean, I'm a little thick, but I'm not like, you know what? There's times where I eat too much cake. I'm like, I gotta go run around the block.
I gotta go stop. I was like, that was ridiculous.
Like, I got a little too thick.
Like, shame on me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
true, though.
Sometimes I put like my old body armor on or something like, oh, it's got a little tighter, So no, I would say my goals for next year is definitely, I don't go scale weight. I go body fat percentage.
Okay, let's talk about goal setting. When you do goals, do you separate like business, relationship goals? I always separate them in categories. I have a business goal, personal goal, separate like.
I got business goals, financial goals.
What are some of your goals? What's your business goal? One of them. Can we tell?
Yeah. No. One. I mean, there's a lot of business goals. It obviously is to continue growing all the businesses. So there's a lot of focus on continue growing the title business because it's only a 3-year-old business.
Yeah.
That's
putting a lot of work in that, though.
Yeah, and try to get as much of that. It's really just getting the right people involved, the right team members. I still have my management company down in Naples that we had to carve out of the sale of the deal, but we're about to put that with AvantStay fully.
Okay.
So that's one business to hand off, but I'm a part owner in AvantStay, so it's to just kind of like blend that
together,
but then grow Southwest Florida on the management side down there. Opening up in new real estate markets. I got Miami, Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Key West, and Orlando that I'm going to be trying to get all of those going by the first quarter of next year.
So that is a lot of work.
Yeah. Lawn care business, I definitely want to grow it more, but that's kind of an easy
That's something
one.
you just kind of started.
Yeah,
you told me you started that because you saw a need for it.
No, I started at an anger because I was mad. A lot of things I do are out of anger, but
some of the best motivation.
The lawn guy didn't cut this house yard. It made me, I was really mad about it because he was friends with me on Facebook, still is. And I gave him all my lawn care business for the management side of the house, which in lawn care, it was over 6 figures.
Yeah.
In lawn care. And he knew I was down in Naples because he even messaged me a few times, like on my stories. And then I randomly drove back. I didn't have the plan yet. I randomly came back, me and Riz. And the front yard was like 3 feet tall of grass.
Yeah.
And she was like mad about it. And he was charging me.
Yeah, so
I was gone.
You're paying for a service that wasn't happening.
Yeah. So I messaged him. I didn't get no response for 4 days. And the response was, we've been busy, but I took care of the rental houses, not yours. I thought you would want that over your personal house. And then he was like, I'll try to get out there like this week. I was just like, are you serious?
Yeah.
So I said, don't worry about it. Literally that day, I filed the LLC.
You're like, I'm done.
I had the logo. I took the Florida Charms logo, Realty. I changed the Florida Charms Lawn Care. I mean, I did it all that day. The next day, I went and purchased a trailer. I had actually had the trailer delivered from Pensacola.
Yeah.
I called this guy. I said, is that trailer in stock? I said, yeah. I said, I'll buy it right now. How much for you to deliver it over here? Literally dropped the trailer off here. I went to Home Depot. I bought all the equipment.
Bought everything, yeah.
And I started the business that week.
That's funny.
And that guy was just like, what, you're getting rid of like all my accounts? I was just like, that was on you, man.
Yeah, it's like
I try to give you an opportunity. So I started that out of anger, and it was a great opportunity. But that's how I did a lot of things in business. Like, I'm not so much out of anger, but instead of trying to find on the management side, instead of trying to bring on more houses to manage, which is time consuming, I'm trying to find ways to make the business make more money organically. So I'm like, why am I always wasting my time scheduling a business to deliver bicycles and a golf cart? What if I just bought the bicycles and golf cart,
and
had them parked at the house, and renters could just rent them?
Yeah.
Instead of me coordinating and then pick up, now they're there and I'm making money from it instead of wasting my time. So I'd always do stuff like that. And that's when the lawn care, I was like, you know what? This makes sense. I'm making 6 figures with the lawn care.
Yeah.
I already have the business,
Yeah.
everything. Just do it myself.
Yeah.
And I had people that wanted
Wanted
to
to
do
work.
the business. So it worked out really good that way. But that's how I started that. But other business goals for 2024.
What about podcasts? What do you got planned for this? Do you have any?
You know, everyone keeps asking me like where I'm trying to go with it. And I don't really have
You're
an end
organically
goal.
letting it happen. I like it, man.
I just kind of wanted to bring on people that I like and I
Well, we
found
talked about it in the gym the
inspirational.
other day. You brought on some good friends of yours that are really cool military,
Yeah.
cool style stories and styles.
So
and stuff.
originally it was just kind of like,
Business, right?
well, it got started because someone said you ought to make a YouTube video. It was after I sold the business. They're like, you ought to make a YouTube video just talking about
How
who you
did
are
it,
and how you
what-
got here.
Yeah.
I said, okay, because I was always getting asked to like tell my story. So I was like, I'll just make a quick little video. Did that. And then I think someone literally said, you should make a little podcast. And I said, okay. So I just bought that little cheap set that I told you about, did that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start bringing on, because people really liked it. They're like, dude, I love hearing this. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start bringing on people that I find either very inspirational or have had such meaningful impacts in my life or very good business success, or I think they just have a really good story. Maybe they came up from nothing and turned them into something. What I don't bring on people that a lot of people ask to come on this show, which I'm kind of surprised because there's not like a ton of followers,
Yeah.
but they'll be like, oh, I want to come on your show. And I'm like, your story's like, it sucks.
Yeah,
You know,
there's,
you're,
like, not
you're a
much
rich
going on.
kid. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
handle all
and,
this.
and you're a millionaire now because
Yeah.
of your dad's business. Like, no one
Like, good
finds
for
that
you.
inspirational.
Yeah.
I don't find it inspirational. So I don't really have an end goal with this, but I just bring on people that I like. And yeah, usually they're friends of mine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Most of the time they're always friends. But yeah, there's no like real end goal with this. And then finishing the 2 houses I'm building and selling those next year. One in watercolor, one in Naples. That's probably my big business goals. But honestly, a lot of what I'm trying to do for next year is
Are you,
definitely enjoy life more.
yeah.
Like I went to Norway this past summer.
That,
I want to go back to
you
Norway
told me
this
that.
summer.
You told me that kind of opened your eyes on like
Yeah,
what you want to do.
I think we're probably going to try to have kids next year. So it's also kind of getting some things
In line
set
for
for that. But
Probably.
I kind of have an idea where I want to be over
Yeah.
the years, but not too far ahead. Because every time I think like, oh, this is my 5-year goal,
It changes.
something changes within 2 years.
I never go 5 years. I always have like one big goal. One big goal is that book for me. You know, little things like that. But I tell you what, man, you'll be shocked when you guys do have kids or whatever, of like how your whole like. I want you to remember this conversation of like all these little goals you have, and like, dude, you're like, dude, I just want to fucking be at home with my kids. Like when you see that, so it's like if you can set yourself up for that, you're gonna be like, it'll be perfect.
That's a big thing because like when I do have kids, I actually want to raise
Raise your
them.
kids.
Like
and not have nannies or.
I don't want them being in daycare all day. Like
No.
I kind of want to teach them actual like real
Real
life
life
skill
stuff,
sets, even outside of school stuff. I want to teach them like business stuff, financial advice,
Stuff that
taxes,
they're missing. Yeah.
like how the real world actually is, not just what they teach in school these days. You know, and I want them not only me, but I want them to be around people that were like mentors to me.
Yeah,
because
good
I want them
people.
exposed to
People. Yeah.
like
for
the
sure.
guy I just had, and it hasn't been really, or like Rob Bartleson, all those dudes. I want my kids around people like that,
Yeah.
to where they're just like around very positive influences, you know, like dudes that have just great life experience. And I know that will also help raise my kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that's why I always say like who I actually keep in my circle of friends. It's not just like a free for all. Everybody's invited.
No.
Like I want
Like real friend.
I want certain groups of guys around me that I know are going to be a positive influence on me. Because even at 35, I still realize that I'm impressionable
Oh,
by
100%.
people.
Yeah.
Like if this guy's into this music or he's into this or this,
Just start listening
that's going
to
to
it.
rub off onto me.
I mean, look at fitness. I mean, you were not even
Yeah.
you didn't work out, and then you're like started
You
hanging
know,
out with me.
yeah, I was in better shape until I met you.
God, for real. You're
Yeah, way better shape.
way better shape. You
Then
got
I
in
just
that
started
cage
drinking
fit.
these C4s.
C4s and
Got thick.
got strong.
No. One thing I do like about what you do at the fitness, though, it's more than, like, for instance, like you donated last year to the First Air Foundation. You're like, hey, I'll donate my workout app. I'll donate cases of C4 and stuff.
Still waiting on the C4.
Still waiting on C4, but I know you can accommodate your training to certain people's physical needs, whether dude's wounded or something like that, more on the physical therapy side.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really like about what you do.
Yeah. You got to adapt and learn. I think let's talk about like, being a person. Always learn, always keep learning, and always open yourself up to learning. Yeah. I think you get to a point where like I'm 35, 33, whatever, I'm fucking done learning. I don't need to learn anything else. Like what I've been doing, it works. I'm not doing anything else, but open yourself up to always learning and kill your ego. I think that's a good thing. It's like kill your ego, put your fucking ego aside. You're not over learning or over anybody else or anything like that. You should always be learning and kind of adapting.
A lot of people are afraid to be the student again.
Dude, for real.
They really are. Like they get to a certain point in their life and their career, and they won't try anything outside of that.
Dude, fucking kill your ego. I always tell people, I'm like, just put your ego aside, dude. And like, but yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, if you can get rid of the ego, man, it's amazing what more you can get accomplished and done.
And relationships you can build with other people. Yeah. Like people you wouldn't talk to because you think so-and-so about or whatever, but you put your ego aside and go talk to so-and-so or whatever. And then next thing you have a great relationship. So
yeah. Because I mean, even like if I start a new business, it's literally starting over again. A lot of people don't want to do things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid to give up their comfortable job to go start a business. A lot of people are afraid to get in the gym because they don't want to be...
Or they want to get in shape before they get to the gym.
It's stupid. I mean, it's like,
it's so stupid though.
Me going to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I'm starting at 35 years old. I'm a white belt.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's great cardio, but it's just like I'm getting tapped out and choked out by like a 20-year-old kid who's 100 pounds lighter than me.
Yeah, you're just good.
Like luckily my ego kind of died a couple of years ago,
yeah.
But if that would have been me 10 years ago, I would have been like...
There's something so true about being an older male of like where you learn to like put that aside, right? Like you're kind of the same way, like in the sense of like when you get older, you always want to... You're like, oh, dude, it's not a big fucking deal. Like you always want to try to, I don't know, and be the best. And it's like, it's okay, I'm not the best right now. I'm just gonna learn.
I used to have that ego. Actually, I have a buddy that's gonna come on this show, and I'll bring this story up. But when I first arrived to team, he said something to me, and he wasn't in the team room. He was up in like the ops division, and I almost popped off to him just out of ego, like, who's this guy talking to me? Blah blah blah. And then I remember like a few months later, he was getting a silver star.
That's crazy.
And I was just like, oh my God. And he was like a very senior guy. And I had no idea who he was. I was just like, so glad I didn't say anything. But
that's crazy.
That ego was about to get me in trouble. That ego was about to just set the precedence of my
your whole
career.
That's crazy, right?
If I would have popped off to him and said something very ignorant.
Curious. Did you tell him that? Does he know about that?
No, he doesn't. I'm actually going to tell him.
Yeah.
But then he was on team with me. He was in charge of me. Yeah. Oh, dude, it could have went south.
And how your relationship now, too.
But I had an ego at that time because I had an identity issue. Here I am, 23 years old, and I don't want to be made fun of. I don't want to be made a joke. I want to be taken serious. Like, I just,
I earned it.
Yeah. And then...
Dude, I still battle with that all the time, too, sometimes. I'm like, who the fuck are they talking to? I'm like, whatever. I'm like... So true though.
But I can tell you, I wouldn't have the confidence I do now if it wasn't for working out. That's for sure.
You started then, man.
Yeah, that's 100% for sure.
You feel
because what's my first response? How much do you bench press?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
so no.
that's what I thought.
No, it's true though. You're like,
you
feel strong. You feel confident in yourself. So you owe so much to fitness.
Even when I get choked out in jiu-jitsu, I'm like, how much do you bench?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll win.
It's true though.
Yeah, is that right, Randy? Yeah.
I think that might be.
I realize bench press doesn't really have much to do with jiu-jitsu.
No.
So, yeah.
But still looks cool.
Yeah. You can't arm curl a dude in jiu-jitsu. So, yeah.
They'll wrap you up.
Yeah, and then when they're wrapping you up. Well, I think that's probably all we
good,
got.
Man.
Is there anything that I'm looking at my little list?
No, we didn't do it. I think we hit everything.
You know what? How can people locally and non-locally? So locally, how do they train with you if they're not local and they want to train with you?
I'm over at Grand Fitness. That's probably the easiest way to train with me in person. If you want to get on my app, it's KH Fit app. It's on Apple and Google Play or whatever. Just KH Fit, Google it. You'll see my face pop up.
KH Fit. We're going to post it.
Yeah, we can post the link or whatever.
I like that commercial that you actually did.
That was good. Like I'll throw that up there. And then click it, man, and let's work out. And like I said, it's all me. So You can buy a program on there. I have a lot of programs to choose from, and once we get started, man, I'm your trainer, so I'll be there along the way. So,
and if a girl is trained and doesn't, let's say she wants to train with a female, doesn't want to train with you because she doesn't want to get too bulky, right?
I do
Your
have
girlfriend.
Yep, I have Amelia over there. She's actually helped me out some of the female programs on the app. So I got some lady training, some booty workouts and stuff on there too as well.
Booty workouts.
Yeah, so it helps out, man.
Yeah, and they can train with her as well at Grand
Yeah,
Fitness.
yeah, she's over at Grand Fitness as well. She's a phenomenal trainer. She's hasn't been training as long, but she's picked it up really quick. I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
So she's doing good.
And outside Grand Fitness, you will go train other people, like at their
Yeah.
homes or other
yeah,
gyms?
I'll do some home training and stuff. I like staying in the gym just because I got all the tools and stuff. But yeah, I'll depending on where you're at and what we're looking to achieve, man, we'll get it done. So.
And you'll set up a whole nutrition program.
Yeah, I do. I like setting up macros because it's more. People that write meal plans and stuff. That's shit's so bullshit. Like when people sit there and like, hey, we're writing chicken this day and all that. That might work if you're a bodybuilding competitor, but it's not real life. So, nutrition programs with macros and stuff like that. So
because everyone's going to be different.
Everybody's gonna be different. Yeah, when you're sitting there weighing out chicken, I had a client. He's like, yeah, so and so wants me to get a scale. I'm like, you're not gonna fucking. What are you gonna do? Go to Chick-fil-A and weigh out your chicken biscuit? You know what I mean? That's not real life, dude. So it's like, don't do that. But yeah, so we're gonna approach fitness from a reasonable, functional standpoint of realistic goals and real life expectations. So
Cool.
But yeah.
All right, we'll make sure we post that, and then we got to go hit the gym,
Let's go work out. I know.
get our workout in, get our stretching in,
Right before.
and drop that in the video as well.
Let's do it, man.
All right, that's
I like it.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the show. I'm gonna start selling my prints with all profits going to charity. This is a way I wanted to give back because as much as I appreciate you donating money without getting anything in return, I wanted to give you something in return. So my website will be up soon, johnhowardart.com. And or if you donate to the charity directly, I will also give you the print. There's a lot of different photos you can pick out, different sizes, canvas, prints, whatever you want. All the profits will be going to charity to like Surf Brigade or First Air Foundation and any other good local charities I can think of. So thank you.
Howard Fit Ab coming next year.
2024.
It's coming. You good? You need help up?
Fix my snake.
So let's talk about pigs first, if that's okay. So when the food industry, they're going to give you, that pig is going to come out and be ready for sale and pickup for a consumer within 6 months, probably. Within 6 months. It takes us about 2 years to grow out our pigs. So we're so much more invested, so much more money into it. They live the, I mean, you can already tell, they live a life. They get to go stick their nose in the ground. They get to go live and be the pig that they're supposed to be. I mean, shoot, most of the pigs that you're actually buying from a market, they've never stepped foot on dirt in their entire life. They've been on a cement floor. So it's sad when you almost think about it. But so with the goat, it takes us a while. Probably about 1.5 years is when we'll start getting them going. The Tucker Millen feed that we use has a natural deterrent in it. They'll use diatomaceous earth and a couple other things that they use to keep away the worms. They create they make it an environment that the worms don't want to live in. So we don't really deal with any of that around here. The easiest way is just watch all your animals defecating, if you will. I mean, just watch and make sure that, I mean, if it's loose, you probably are starting to run into a problem, but everything should just look clean, and I mean, that's something that we don't deal with.